Mutual Board of Directors, and it's a nonprofit mutual benefit corporation. It's Tuesday, April 12th. It's 9:30, and we have a quorum. And I'd like to ask Director Lee to lead us in the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I don't recognize anybody from the media, but I guess we're on TV. I see we're lit up there. So, looking at the agenda, we have a full agenda today. Are there any problems with the agenda? Do we have a movement to approve the agenda as written? Director Blackwell has moved it, and it's been seconded.
I have a suggestion for agenda.
Excuse me?
I want to suggest that please move the in consent calendar A for ratifying the finance meeting, move to the unfinished business. I have sent some requests, and because it was the audit time.
Does she have her mic on? Yeah?
Because it was the audit time, I haven't received the response yet, and so I cannot ratify that one at this moment. Agenda 11A, move from consent calendar to the unfinished business.
So give that to me again, please.
Agenda 11A,
8?
A
Yeah.
as apple.
Yeah?
Please move that one from consent calendar to the unfinished business because I cannot ratify that one at this moment.
What, 5A?
No,
gosh.
she wants to,
12.
under consent calendar, 11A, wants to move it to
11A.
unfinished business.
Yes.
Okay, Director Ascari has made a movement to, and since the amendment hasn't been approved, we can do it by, since the agenda has not been approved yet by the body, we can vote in a majority to move that to unfinished business. Any problems with that? Okay, the agenda is approved as altered, and that means 11A will be moved to unfinished business, and we'll call that staff 12D. Okay? All right, let's move. All right. We'll move to the approval of the minutes for March 24th, agenda prep meeting. Are there any errors, omissions? I don't see any hands raised, so those minutes stand approved by consent. Move on to 5B, March 8th, regular open session. Any errors or omissions to those minutes? I see no hands raised, so those minutes are approved. Okay, report of the chair. The only thing I have to say, it's great to see everybody back here, and hopefully we'll move on with this. And I know it's going to be a long meeting today, so I don't want to get too wordy here. So is Director Rupert here to give us a VMS report?
Yes, it looks like she just joined the meeting. I'm asking her to promote herself to panelist.
Cynthia, you're muted. Cynthia, we're ready for your report, VMS report, but you're muted.
Good morning. Had a little trouble there. Good morning, Chairman Livatore and honorable board members. I'm Director Cynthia Rupert from VMS, and I'm going to present the April 2022 VMS update to the United Board. Can we get the slideshow up, please? Do we have a slideshow? There, that helps a little bit. Okay, can we go to the very next slide, please? Village Management Services is committed to excellence and dedicated to service. We are positive service and result-oriented outcomes are our goals, as well as enhancing customer service experience and the quality of life for all who live in the village. Next slide, please. On March 22nd, 2022, VMS conducted a strategic plan update meeting. The participants were representatives from VMS, GRF, and the mutual boards, United and Third, as well as department heads, with a specific emphasis on service delivery enhancement. Participants performed a SWOT analysis looking at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and how they may impact VMS and the village. In addition, we reviewed 3-year goals and established new 6-month action items. Next slide, please. The SWOT analysis revealed internal strengths such as strong management team organizational realignment that focused on service delivery and accountability, and the excellent new hiring we had in several departments. Furthermore, the SWOT analysis exposed internal weaknesses such as our outdated technology, the inability to fill all vacant positions and to retain employees, and then a third of the board's turnover every year, and that creates a lack of continuity. Next slide, please. Next, VMS set 6-month strategic objectives to attract, develop, and retain high-quality staff. And here's a sampling: to complete new interboard anti-harassment policy and implement the process to ensure that the workplace is harassment-free by June 1st, 2022. To complete cultural sensitivity training for 100% of our senior staff members and all new hires by July 1. And identify, implement at least one meaningful professional development opportunity per department where it's possible for current employees interested in advancing skills by July 1 also. Next slide, please. And our 3-year goals from 2022 to 2025, these are not really in any priority order, but attract, develop, and retain high-quality staff, to work with our boards to maintain fiscal stability and village longevity, provide excellent customer service, and facilitate operational excellence and sustainability. Next slide, please. As far as our department presentations, well, we have a new format. Future board member questions and performance indicators are our focus. For example, questions could be how road issues are handled in the community, or when weekend emergencies with property damage occur, how does landscaping coordinate with security as well as M&C for a timely follow-up? And what is the benefit of a new irrigation system versus adjusting run times on our existing systems? The presentations occur in open session the first Wednesday of each month. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, let's turn now to one of the key issues that we hear all the time about ground maintenance, landscaping. If you look at this chart, it's going to show from 2018 to 2021 the changes that we had in various areas. For example, lawn repair and leaves stayed somewhat the same over the 4-year period. And then we look at mulch. We had a growth. More people wanted mulch this year than they have in the past. Weeds is kind of the same. Sidewalks cleaned down a little, but very great reduction in shrubs pruned, shrubs replaced, and shrubs treated. So we're really getting a handle on certain areas that have been a problem in the past. Okay, next slide, please. We developed a coin service because several residents have requested that we continue this service. We have coin distribution that provides residents with laundry quarters, which began March 14th. $10 rolls are available for purchase in the Community Center Recreation Office from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. One $10 roll is a limit per resident, and you must pay with the exact currency, either $2 $5 bills or one $10 bill. There will not be any change provided. Next slide, please. In addition, we have a new bulky item program, weekly disposal, no third Saturday collection, for resident services. The 5 collection areas with designated weekday collection. You need to place your items by a shared trash enclosure on the curb where personal trash and recycling parts are collected before 8 on the area collection day. We prohibit car parts, construction, demolition, hazardous waste, items that are not safely loaded or unloaded into a vehicle by 2 different people. And CR&R, the phone number, 949-625-6735, or Laguna Woods Recycles at crrmail.com. For more information, please feel free. Next slide, please. As far as VMS is concerned, our future is bright. Let's try that. Our future is bright. We looking forward, analyzing the future needs of the village, and proactively initiating processes and procedures as well as programs to meet these needs. Last slide. If you have any questions or need any further information, please feel free to contact maintenance, construction, or landscaping. Requests not department specific can go to info@Laguna Woods Village, and or your board member representatives, and we thank you very much for this presentation.
Thank you, Director
That
Rupert.
concludes. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Director Casey has a question.
Cynthia, they put in new garbage cans, and I'm sure you probably have heard or seen. They're huge.
I'm so sorry. I can't hear you. Could you speak up?
Oh, I always forget. I'm sorry, Cynthia. They recently, just a couple of days ago, put in new garbage cans that are huge. I mean, they're so big. And I'm tall. They're hard to lift. I have 2 bad shoulders, and I took a picture of my neighbor who's tiny, and trying to lift that can. Why would they install such huge cans? And that's all I have.
If I could, President Liberatore.
Yes,
Cynthia, I was going to ask Robert Carroll to address that very quickly. He's in the audience, and he's our General Services Director.
thank you.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, we realize the bins they're 6 inches taller than the former waste management bins. When CR&R implemented the contract, those are the low profile bins are not available. Those were manufactured by Waste Management. They have smaller casters, and the employees were having problems moving them. So they ordered what is available on the market, which is 6 inches taller. We realize it's been a problem for some residents, so what CR&R has agreed to do, they're manufacturing their own bins. They're manufacturing low-profile bins. We have about 600 of the taller bins throughout the community, and we've received 15 requests to swap them out, which CR&R has agreed to do. So they're manufacturing the lower-profile bins, and they're able to get them out to the cul-de-sacs within a week. So they do have a solution. It's not a perfect solution, but they are manufacturing the bins, low-profile bins, to accommodate this need.
Thank you.
Welcome.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Chair?
Yes, Gazar, you got the
Thank you.
floor.
Is it possible that we have those bins that open from the side? In my cul-de-sac, we have 3 people that they are with the wheelchair, and there is no way even their hands goes to the top, even be 6 inches less. I personally, from the last week, 3 times I email CRNR. I have never received any response. So because non-stop residents comes to my door and complain about that, I suggested if they wanted to bring a new one and spend money, is it possible you suggested one of those, I can send a picture that opens from the side. So they can be big, they can be all of them, but open from side, not from that heavy one on the top.
Right, I'll have to check with the city to see if any of that's included in their agreement with CRNR, but we can definitely look into that and have a discussion with them. We meet with the city and CRNR on a weekly basis to discuss items such as this. And if you don't mind forwarding me the emails that you've sent to CRNR that have not been responded to, I'll make sure that you get an answer.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody, Director Lee?
Yeah, on the same note, I also have several residents that were having problem communicating with CRNR. They were going through some problems. They have sent the emails many times, and sometimes to the Laguna City. They haven't gotten any response, so they came to me, and I have contacted Robert and have Robert handle that for me, and it has worked out every time. So I really appreciate it. And if you have problem communicating with CRNR, I think our best solution is to contact Robert.
Director Ross?
Yeah, on the same issue, I think you published, or Cynthia published the number to call if residents feel that the dumpsters need to be changed. So I could just read the phone number off so that the residents have it. It's 949-625-6735. That's CR&R. So if you don't like the way your dumpsters are too high, just call that number and they'll replace your dumpster with a lower dumpster. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Director Lee?
As I said, Lenny, it doesn't work. I have many people have called CRNR over and over, send the email many times. I think the best bet is to contact Robert. Because and I think for us, it's easier to get a response from Robert than CRNR. Maybe they're just swamped. But I have experienced many people that have going through a difficulty. Maybe it will get settled later on, but still, it's very difficult to contact and expect any response from CRNR sometimes.
If I could respond to that, and you're absolutely correct. The first couple of months in the contract, we were having a lot of problems with response from CRNR. We spent a lot of time the last 3 weeks working with the city and CRNR in terms of improving their response times. If you call CRNR, they're supposed to be getting back to you within 90 minutes. And if you write to CRNR via email, within 24 hours. So if you're not getting that type of response, exactly, please reach out to me and we'll continue to work with them to make sure that you're getting that type of response.
Thank you, Director. Do we have any more comments for this Vms report?
Mr. Chair, thank you, another issue. I have a question for Cynthia. Cynthia, regarding to that 6 months plan, that strategy plan, is there any possibility we add find how the satisfaction of the residents from customer service, the evaluation of that? Is it possible we kind of in 6 months we get it now, and in 6 months compare, is it better or not? Especially I am talking about those residents that walk into the resident service and talk to the people. Is there any possibility that be on the 6 months plan?
Cynthia, this is Siobhan. I can address that. We
Thank
have
you.
started to do the resident services customer service survey. To date, we have responded or received over 900 responses. So anyone who submits a maintenance ticket will get a survey when the work is complete, and they can evaluate resident services performance, the maintenance performance, and there is an open-ended area where they can submit comments, and we follow up with every negative comment.
Thank you. Thank you so much for.
Director Cash, Aquacar.
On another issue here, the sensitivity training should be not just for the staff, but for all employees, not just the management. I think that will be a better understanding between the employees and their managers.
You're absolutely right, Director, and we rolled this out last summer, and most employees were trained last summer. We're trying to train new employees and an emphasis on managers presently.
Thank you, Director Aquacar. Director Torn.
Thank you, Chair. According to the VMS management agreement, in there, the customer resident services, there's a statement that state that the VMS should supply us the customer service work request, all the information, all the requests they received, and give us the information and how much it cost, what kind of service required, so we can do some, and let us know what kind of major issues we have. I haven't received anything like that. Is there any difficulty producing that kind of report, or is that going to be shared with us sometime soon?
Cynthia, you've got a response to Director Torn?
Siobhan, do you want to address that?
Sure, I can do that. I will take a look at the agreement and see what we need to be providing. We do provide monthly updates on key service issues at our monthly operations meeting with the president of the board.
I think I have the report here. It's
I'm not here to debate this. I said I would review it and get back to you.
No, you should know that.
Thank you,
Article
Director
4,
Torn.
specific duties, Section C.
Director Torn,
I don't understand why
Director
they
Torn,
don't
you're
know
out
the,
of order.
management agreement. It's stated in there.
An agreement right now. We just was the Cynthia report from the VMS. Moving on. All right,
Are
item
there any
number
other
8 is
questions?
open. More questions? Any more, I don't see any hands raised. Any more questions for Cynthia Rupert, our VMS report? No, let's move on to item number 8. Item is an open forum, 3 minutes per speaker. At this time, members only may address the Board of Directors and reserve the right to limit the time. And you must speak, this part, you speak on something that's not already on the agenda. So, Michaela, do we have anybody?
Yes, we have Macintosh Manor 68C.
Good morning, neighbors, one and all. So happy to see you here. I want to comment, I was so glad at the GRF meeting last week. Lenny Ross brought up the trash receptacle problems that we're having. At one time, GRF was responsible for ordering them. I don't know who is today, but obviously, if GRF orders them, they need more oversight on it. While the manufacturing of new bins is going on, I hope they'll put in those rods that hold the lid up. Then you've got 2 free hands where you can possibly get your own trash in the bin. This month marks the 5-year mark on the planned saving of money on heating water in the laundry rooms. It was 5 years ago, April. that the board at that time, people seated on the board at that time, the majority voted, I believe it was $3.7 million to save money on a 10-year plan. And so we need a report. If we could have a report maybe at the next meeting on what money has been saved, what the cost is this turning out to be as good as the people at that time had hoped it would be? Very big investment, long period of time. So that would be wonderful if we could have the halfway mark and report on that. Thank you. I wish more people that tell me they're watching this meeting on television would come and see how easy it is to be here. All this plexiglass provides such good protection. If we're still going into a new form of COVID, we all kind of worry about that. All this plexiglass between the board members around the area where I'm standing offers extra protection. This room is well built for protection. It's only when you have an overflow crowd. And then usually they open another room, so you have a choice of going to another room. You don't have to sit with the overflow crowd. So I wish more of our people would come and see how easy it is to attend the meeting, leave whenever you want, no obligation. You don't sign anything when you come in. And it's really pleasant to see everybody here, all these people that work for us for no pay, just out of the love of their heart, trying to do something good for United and keep something good going. I hope we will see more of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Michaela?
We have Chris Collins, Manor 3306Q.
Good morning. I'm here to give you another update on the work of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, which we do on behalf of residents who are experiencing temporary financial crisis. And of course, our motto is Neighbors Helping Neighbors, so I'd like to share about the new fall prevention workshops and optimal aging series. Are you less steady on your feet? Are you unable to walk as far as you used to? Are you fearful of falling? You're not alone. The pandemic has made some older adults less active, and with that lessened activity comes physical deconditioning. But the loss of physical conditioning is reversible. So to address this problem, the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village is partnering with social services and UCI Irvine Division of Geriatrics to offer a series of fall prevention workshops for village residents on a first-come, first-served basis. There will be 2 series of these 5 workshops of the Fall Prevention Workshop. The first series will be offered on the 3rd Wednesday of every month starting on April 20th from 2 to 3:30 at Clubhouse 2. These workshops will cover such topics as home and community safety, where do people fall, medication and falls, bone and health, osteoporosis, and life changes to prevent falls. The sessions are free and will be conducted by the UCI staff under the direction of Dr. Lisa Gibbs at UCI. In addition to this, to help residents maximize their health, UCI and Social Services is partnering with a series of lectures, and it's called Optimal Aging Series. And these talks will be on the first Wednesday of the next 6 months, to be provided by UCI staff and faculty. Actually, the first one was last Wednesday. There will be another one coming up in May. So on May 4th at 2 to 3:30 p.m. in Clubhouse 2. Now, the first of these lectures was called, on mobility and stability, was called Keeping Your Feet on the Ground. And others will focus on reaching resiliency, brain health, medication, pitfalls, and advanced directives. So these initiatives are part of the Foundation's effort to help the entire community as it celebrates its 25th anniversary. It's the Foundation's way of saying thank you to the Foundation. We couldn't have reached this milestone without the support of the entire village. We also welcome your input. So if you have additional suggestions or how to build on these efforts, please contact the foundation at 949-268-2246 or the foundation at comline.com. For more information about the foundation and how we achieve our motto of neighbors helping neighbors, please go to our website, which is the foundation at lagunawoodsvillage.org. Thank you.
Miguel, do we have anybody else? That
Yes, we have a couple more. We have Ann Beltran, Manor 854-0.
Good morning to you all. I'm here on behalf of the concerned citizens of Laguna Woods Village. We're hosting an Earth Day program on April 21st from 1 to 4 p.m. That's a Thursday at Clubhouse 1. And we will have speakers there, including speakers, I think people will be happy to hear this, from CRR and the city. And their presentations will begin at about 1:30. There'll be 3 brief presentations besides CRR and the city. We'll have someone speaking on green energy and on water conservation. And then there will be tables around Clubhouse 1 on those topics, as well as others, including turf options, solar, and trees. So we'd love to see a robust turnout from board members and residents, and to learn more about how we can respond to climate change in the village. And our theme is, there is a way. Thank you.
Can you repeat that
Thank you.
time again?
It's April 21st, Thursday, 1 to 4, Clubhouse 1, and we do have, flyers around all the clubhouses. What? Well, it'll be the big room because we'll have the speakers, and then we'll have tables. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. Michaela?
Juanita Skillman, Manor 2154N.
Good morning. It is so good to see all of your faces here today. But I'm here today to express my disappointment that I did not see your faces on March 30th. The first budget meeting of the year, which is such an important one, where they set out the service limits. They went over in detail the statistics of what they're doing, their staff, how their staff is arranged, who does what. There was so much information that gave a baseline for going forward with the 2023 budget that you all will be responsible for. There were 3 people in this room and 1 on Zoom, and that's it. The rest of you, your fiduciary duty was to have been there and know what that baseline was. So I am so disappointed, but very glad to see that you're back all today. And I hope this is what we'll see going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I respond to that one?
Who?
Mr. Chair?
Ascari?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Director Ascari.
Yes, thank you for bringing this issue, but being there and listening to that presentation is only one way. I personally worked that day, but right away at 3 o'clock I asked, and nicely staff sent the presentation to me, and I personally watched it twice. So coming here and you say that we are not doing our duties is a little bit too harsh for us. Please first ask, have we watched that one? Have we get information or not? Then you can bring this accusation. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ascari. Michaela, do we have anybody else?
Yes, we have Richard Rader, Manor 270D.
Good morning. I wonder if everybody is aware of the fact that a Zoom link is not available for this particular meeting, while Zoom link is available for other board meetings that are occurring this week. And I think a Zoom link has proven to be really important because it allows other residents who are not able to attend perhaps to ask questions directly of the board. So I have 2 questions for you. could you perhaps mention why this policy was instituted? And also, could you tell us, is it going to be a policy going forward? Or is it just for this particular time, for this meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Rader. Michaela?
There's one member email, so I'll read it right now. Let me get the timer started. It is from Catherine Miller Manor, 36F. She said, as a mental health therapist, I realize the negative effects of feeling out of control. I would like to remind those few people in charge of making decisions that impact the residents of Laguna Woods that this is a community of older folks that feel the loss of control by the aging process. And to further that, by treating us like we have no say on something as vital as our health and property value is extremely damaging. Please remember we were and are intelligent, successful people that purchased a home here because of the beauty of the trees. If we wanted to live surrounded by cement and at the mercy of others' decisions, we would have purchased elsewhere. Thank you. And that is all.
Thank you, Michaela.
There's one more comment. I just forwarded it to you via email. I apologize.
We have another comment? Yes. Who?
Okay, I do see that. So let's see, it's from Melanie Wood, Manor 242C. They said 2 United Mutual board members, once over 300 very beautiful fully grown Canary Island pine trees are removed. How will you deal with erosion since there will be no root system holding all of the soil in place? How much will it cost to stop the erosion in the mud draining on the walkways during the rainy season? How will maintenance and residents contend with all of the dirt blowing where trees once stood when it's dry, unshaded, and windy? If you plant grass, how much will it cost to plant the grass, water it, mow it, and trim it? Our property values will be reduced because, let's face it, the condos in the United are very outdated and not pleasant to look at from the outside. Removing trees and giving it a barren look will only make the outdated condos become extremely noticeable and far less desirable to potential buyers. Result, lower property values and loss of potential income for sellers. And just as important, since people consider Canary Island pines messy, will you also be looking to cut down all the incredibly beautiful flowering trees too because people don't like messy blossoms? Exactly where does the tree elimination quest end? Finally, many of us moved into this beautiful spot in Southern California for its unique landscaping, huge trees, numerous varieties, including the awe-inspiring Canary Island pines. We made this move because we wanted trees, not a desert. Please take these issues into serious consideration. A Laguna Woods with fewer and fewer trees lessens condo value to those who live here and lessens appeal to prospective buyers.
Thank you, Michaela.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move on to, just hold your horses now. Look at number 9. Number 9, response to open forum systems, if you read your agenda.
Okay.
All right, now you can have the floor, Director Torn.
Thank you very much, Chair. In response to Dick Rader's question about virtual meetings, I've got a call from a resident that says they cannot sign in. So I tried to sign in here, and I got authorized authorized user only. Is there any specific reason that we are not opening a general public?
Are you asking me? Who are you asking?
I'm asking whoever is responsible for this meeting, why is it I'm addressing to you. Okay, by Robert's rule, I have to address the question to you.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so you direct it to whoever should answer.
Well, I have no answer for that. Siobhan, would you want to reply to that?
This meeting was advertised as an open meeting, reverting back to our pre-COVID days when we met in person, and it is available on the Granicus system.
You're out of order, Dick Rader. Be quiet or leave.
And we can consider using the Zoom link in the future, and we will take that into consideration.
Thank you.
So is it an open meeting, open to everybody, or just open to authorized
Director
people
Torn,
only?
please, control yourself. Do we have any other directors? Director English.
I can feel very strongly for those people that want to save the pine trees. and I totally agree with them. However, I think that all of you who want to save the pine trees would not be opposed to thinning them out where we've got sick ones or something's wrong with them causing a problem. And I think that that's what we need to do, is to thin them out, the ones that have got illness, sickness, whatever, and get rid of those ones. And I'm sure it'll be a whole lot less than 363, although I don't know how many it would be. Thank you.
Director Ascari?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I want to thank, I don't think she's here. I received this one in my desk, Cheryl Nielsen, 560B, for printing over 100 pages for all of us. This is eight for each of us, both sides, color one, and oppositing for keep the woods in the woods and be against of cutting almost 400
Okay, I'll just go around here.
trees. So I want to thank residents that care a lot about this beautiful Laguna Woods. That's for number one. Number two, what Mr. Dick said rather about this meeting be in person. By David's Sterling Act, we have a right to have a hybrid by Zoom and in person. And I am sure, and I'm hoping, Mr. President, today will make a motion and make a decision about that, respond to what one resident asked here. It is available, this technology for all of us, and we have to take advantage of that. Being in the Zoom, and many residents can see, and right away, if they have questions, they can ask, is bring more benefit for residents and for director. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ascari. Director Nardani, you have some? Director Blackwell?
Diane Casey.
Do you have anything, though?
No, Diane.
Director Bastani? Director Casey?
Oh, I just want to make a comment about the foundation and how important balance is. So I would say definitely try to take that if you're having any issues, because when I was 50, I lost the ability to stop myself from falling. And it was taking balance classes that got it back. And I was falling all the time. I broke 2 elbows. So it's a good thing. And it's so nice to see Dick Rader in person.
Director Cash Ackrocar, do you have anything?
No, no comment.
Director Ross?
Something that one of our residents, Maxine, had said. She brought up the idea that there was a 10-year savings report committed to 10 years ago, and she was wondering what the status was now. I suppose it was done about 5 years ago, and she was saying that there might be an update on where we stand. Now that we're going into budgets, I'd be interested in finding out more about that report and find out from staff what they know about it and could give us an update on that report. So I'll leave that up to Shaban if she knows anything about that.
I've noted that, and we will report back.
Okay, thank you.
Director Lee?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify, the workshop that was offered by Laguna Woods Foundation, by UCI Group, is it on May 4th at 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
At Clubhouse 2?
Yes, that's
Okay.
the lecture series. There's 2 things. The lecture series is where it's social services is partnering with UCI to do that, and that's got a wide availability.
Yes.
Because it's in
Clubhouse 2.
In the big room.
Okay.
Yeah. The other one is by enrollment. It's a smaller number. It's they work with people individually, in a small group. I think it's only 20, and the enrollment has just got. We have 40 people on the waiting list for the next one. So if you're interested, do call social services to get on that waiting list.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Director Torn, you want a second shot?
Yes, thanks, Chair. President, as far as tree cut is concerned, there is a reason that we need to, I'm speaking for the board and the VMS side, okay? There is a reason that we need to cut those trees. And some of the reasons, but there are gray areas in between, of course, okay? There are trees that we have to cut, like they're causing the foundation issues, like they are causing the street issues, to buckle up the streets, so we have to do that, okay? And cones falling on the roof, breaking the roof, skylights, those are the reasons that we need to take them out. But I also heard reasons that actually it's Diane, the director Diane Casey told me that in the neighborhood there is an owl nesting on the tree, and they took it out. I was very surprised because as far as I remember, there is an arborist that they asked this question before, but they did say that there's arborists that will check the bird nest, making sure there's no damage to the bird nest, and the residents were very upset about that. Now, my question at this point is, in the gray area, why don't we put the sign, the yellow tape on the tree, put a sign on it, and ask them to either sign it or inform the VMS that we have a problem with this tree? I would assume most of the time, because it's coordinated effort, and I'm hoping that VMS doing an expert job making the decisions, it's not that bad. Usually it should be removed. But there are some special situations that these things need not to be need to be taken care of. So asking the residents' opinion. When residents wants to remove trees, they need to get consent from the neighbors. So when VMS want to remove trees, maybe we also need to get consent from the neighbors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Torn. Director Blackwell?
Wait a minute, I had my hand up.
Thank you. There will be a landscape meeting. When is it, next week? The landscape meeting will be June 8th at
No,
the committee met on March?
April 24th.
April 24th, thank you.
Oh,
Ap-
no, yes, yeah.
Yeah, April
April
24th.
14th, I'm sorry.
14th.
This week.
Okay, it will be this week, and you will hear much information at that time. The committee and the staff have been working on this issue since the last board meeting.
I'm going to talk about it.
Yes, so Diane will mention it at her report today. That is where you want to go for the information. That is where you will hear questions and considerations. Thank you. So
thank-
April 14th.
Thank you, Director Blackwell. And now we'll move on to item number 10.
No.
Pat English?
Yes, I just wanted to remark on Zoom, or not having Zoom. It's so nice to see all of you and to actually see what you're saying and how you're interacting with one another. Zoom cuts all that out. I didn't even know who this lady was until I saw her the other day. Zoom cut it all out. And I think that this is a way better method of holding our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Director English. And now move on to number 10, a CEO report. Siobhan, you have the floor.
Thank you. I wanted to address Granicus one more time. We have verified that it is in fact playing live, so anybody can watch it on Granicus for today if they're not watching it on television. In terms of my CEO update, Honorable President, members of the board, I have 3 updates this morning and 1 introduction. On the screen before you is the schedule for the new bulky item pickup program that Director Rupert mentioned. I just want to let residents know how they can find out when their weekly pickup day is, and that is done by building number. On the screen in front of you is the schedule based on building number, and if you take a look at the screen, you can see if you're in building number 1 through 125, for example, your pickup day will be Tuesday, and so forth. This schedule is available on the website under the News tab if you need to refer to it to understand when your collection day is. Thank you, Michaela. I also want to invite our residents to celebrate spring at the Equestrian Center. Residents are encouraged to come on Saturday, April 16th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Children and adults can enjoy egg hunts, a petting zoo, bounce house, and crafts, and an airbrush artist. Parking is available for the event in the lot off of Via Campo Verde. There will be shuttle service available from 8:45 to 11:15 a.m. Also, the 2022 Health and Wellness Expo is coming up. This is a free event that occurs on Saturday, April 23rd, starting at 10 a.m. at Clubhouse 5. I apologize. Again, that's Saturday, April 23rd, starting at 10 a.m. at Clubhouse 5. It features sponsor host booths, lectures, and much more. There will be complimentary food, fresh juice shots, sponsored giveaways, etc. Attendees who secure a passport and secure sponsor initials on that passport are also eligible for raffle prizes at this event. Most importantly, however, this morning I want to introduce our new Director of Security. Eric Nunez joined VMS yesterday as our new Director of Security. He replaces Carlos Rojas, who is now serving as Director of Operations in the CEO's office. Eric brings more than 30 years of public safety experience to the village. He has served as the police chief in Los Alamitos for the last 6 years and as police chief in La Palma for 6 years. He is familiar with the public safety expectations centering around quality of life issues, such as traffic safety, code enforcement, neighborhood disputes, and social services. During his time in Los Alamitos, Eric built a level of trust with the Orange County Sheriff's Department that will serve him well in this role. In La Palma, Eric served as the Emergency Services Coordinator and worked with the Community Engagement Response Team that is active during emergencies. Eric holds a BS in Public Administration from the University of Laverne, an Executive Master of Leadership from USC. He teaches criminal justice at Cal State Long Beach and is the past president of the California Police Chiefs Association, as well as the Orange County Police Chiefs and Sheriff Association. I want to ask you to please welcome me in having Eric join the village as our Director of Security. And I'd like to invite Eric up to say just a few words.
Thank you, Siobhan. Thank you, Chair and members of the board. It's a pleasure to be here today. It sounds like it's the first meeting where you've been face-to-face, and I'm glad I was here to actually experience that. It's nice to meet everybody. And like I said, it's an honor and pleasure to serve as a director. It's okay. I think that my experience with the two cities that I served for prior to coming to the village are really beneficial. They're going to help me because that experience is really based on high level of service, and engaging with the community and understanding and working with the Sheriff's Department as stated. All of those things are positives, and all those things are foundational for me to be able to build upon to provide service, leadership, and I look forward to this is my second day. So the first day was real fast, as you can imagine, but I'm just really grateful for the chance to meet you, and grateful for the job, Siobhan, and I look forward to serving you. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. And that concludes my presentation. Oh.
Thank you, Siobhan. And now we're going to move on to Director Torn.
Yes. Matt?
Yes, you have the floor.
Is it possible that maybe I can talk privately to the security chief about some opinions? Because I think our security here, the reason we are called security here, not police here, is because we want our security department to be service and help our residents rather than enforcement. We've already got a police to enforce rules, and we have a lot of additional rules that are kind of crazy. For example, I park in the wrong direction on the side of the street. Everybody's going this way. I park the other way, and I got a citation. And I don't understand why, because it never happens in outside the world. It only happens within. So there are quite a few things in the city that we can try to help rather than give citations to the residents. So is it possible that I talk to,
And
or do I need to
Director
go through
Torn,
you?
you can talk to security anytime, but I don't think we should tie up the board on this
Okay, I
personal
will.
issue. Thank you very much.
Okay, I will.
Item number 11, a consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are recommended for action by committees and will be enacted by the board by one motion. In the event that something is not, it can be pulled off as it has been already. So on the consent calendar now, we have moved item A down to 12D. So now, the rest of the consent calendar is item B, recommendation for the Landscape Committee, recommendation to deny a tree removal request, approve, and again, this has already been discussed, so do we have any objections to that? Or is that up for approval? Director Casey?
Well, it just was denied. The tree removal was.
Right, well, this is the consent calendar, we can approve it.
Yeah.
Director Blackwell?
I move that we approve the 3 items remaining on the consent calendar.
Director Blackwell has made a motion to approve B, C, and D on the consent calendar. Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Director English has made a second. All in favor, signify by raising your hand, I guess.
May I ask a question, quick question? Where does Laguna Hills Memorial Day half marathon goes to the committee? Which committee recommended that, or is it directed to the board?
We have a motion on the floor to approve these. You want to take that off the consent calendar?
I just want to know who made the recommendation. I have no clue. Usually there's a landscape committee. There's a GRF went through the.
There's a motion on the floor, and it's been seconded to approve B, C, and D. Now, you voting for it or against it?
We have discussion on that.
It's the consent calendar. Do you want to pull it off?
So consent calendar, no discussion.
Well, you can pull it off. Director Ascari pulled something off.
Never mind.
So all in favor of the motion, signify by raising your hand. Michaela, can you count for me, please? All those opposed?
It passed.
It passes. Thank you very much. Unfinished business. Okay, on 12A is update committee assignments. Do we have any observations or talks about that? Director Blackwell?
Yes, I just wanted to ask, Reza, do you want to remain on the Security and Access Committee? You haven't been to any meetings. Yeah. Do you want to remain on this committee, Security and Committee Access? Okay. So I move to amend this to remove Reza Bastani from the Security and Community Access.
Is that on United?
That is it's on GRF. It's 12A 4 of 4. And I'd be willing to sit on that committee because I have.
This is GRF Security Committee?
Yes. I'd be willing to sit on that since I have done it before, if that's all right.
So, board, what do you want to do with this? Start with Director English. Director Bastani says he'd like to be removed from security, and Director Blackwell volunteered to take his place. Director English?
I'm sorry, I've lost track. I don't understand where I
It's
fit
on the-
into this
It's on the
picture.
GRF, on the pink sheet.
Oh, on the, and So what are we proposing?
GRF Security and Community Access, Director Bastani asked to be removed from that committee assignment,
Okay, that's fine with me.
and Director Blackwell would like to take his place.
Thank you.
Director Ascari? Director Blackwell, you're okay with it? You volunteer? Director Bastani, you're in agreement with that?
I am too.
So that you step off the committee and I'll go.
Director Casey, are you in agreement with that?
Yes.
Director Cash Aquicar?
I do have a question on,
Well, let's
insur-
get this one thing done first.
Okay.
Removal of Bastani and replacing Blackwell. Are you in favor of that or no?
Yeah.
Director Ross, Director Lee, Director Torn?
I have no problem with that, but I.
Okay. So we have an approval of that for staff on the GRF Security and Vehicles Committee, Director Bastani, Security and Community Access, Director Bastani is off and Blackwell will take his name. You got that?
Yes. Do you know who seconded the motion?
Pat English.
I did.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, are there any other omissions or deletions on this committee assignment? Director Casey.
Well, I just had a question. The Purchasing Ad Hoc Committee, it seemed like when I got a message about it, there was a conflict, like I'm on another committee or something. And at first I thought that ad hoc committee was not going to happen, so I don't know what day it was. I was just trying to find out the email I got so I could look at my calendar, but.
That's the GRF committee. Director Blackwell?
If I remember correctly, that was an ad hoc committee, and they did not have staff available for that committee. So they are temporarily or disbanding that committee, is that right?
Actually, it had a meeting last Wednesday. I
Yeah.
believe Steve can address this for us, please.
Okay, good, because I wanted to go, but I couldn't.
Correct. We had a meeting last week, so to discuss the purchasing policy. So we'll make certain that staff includes you and checks all the local calendars before we schedule it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So the ad hoc committee remains. Okay, are there any other observations? Siobhan?
I do want to mention that the website ad hoc committee, the last one on the GRF list, I don't know if you want to appoint anyone to that.
All right, could you give us a little brief update on that so the directors know what they're getting into?
I'm sorry, it's coming out of the Media and Communications Committee. This is the group that is working on the website development for the new website design.
Okay, so it's basically going to be working on a new website design, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, so we're looking for Director Casey.
I would like to be in that one, if it is possible.
Excuse me?
I would like to be in that one, if it is
Okay.
possible.
Director Ascari?
Thank you.
I just had another question, and not on that one, although that sounds like a very interesting committee, but.
Or any more about Director Cash Aquicar?
yeah, I would like to be on Insurance Ad hoc Committee also.
Okay, let me deal with this other one first, all right? The website ad hoc committee, developing the new website for her. So we have Director Ascari has volunteered. Okay, I think we should have more than one representation, so I'll put myself down there too. So Director Ascari and Director Liberatore will be on that ad hoc committee. Do you have that, Michaela? Okay. Director Cash Aquicar.
Yeah, I would like to put my name on Insurance Ad hoc Committee also.
Is that the GRF one?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just above the last one.
Hmm?
It's right here. Turn over. No, here. Right here.
Well, Cash, I'd be glad to have your company.
Thank you.
I'm the only one on it. Okay. Michaela, so Director Aquicar is going to put himself on the Insurance Ad hoc Committee along with me. And Cash, you and I should talk later about this, all right?
Sure.
Director Casey.
Yeah, I thought I was on that committee, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's good for cash. But we're going to need to have an ad hoc committee for our landscape, and I know it's coming up this week, but is it something we should discuss now for the tree project?
No, I think I'd like to have that come from the Landscape Committee.
Okay,
You know, and then if it's approved at the Landscape Committee, then we can bring it up here and have it, the full board look at it.
okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
All right, we have,
I have a question. The purchase ad hoc committee, if you have a meeting with it, I can be the purchase ad hoc committee and you delete your name on that. If you want,
if you'd like to be on it?
the purchase one.
Yeah, let me see here.
The purchase ad hoc, if you have a lot on your plate.
Okay.
Oh, that's up there.
All right, Director Nardani is going to take my place on the GRF Purchasing Ad Hoc Committee, okay? And just make sure these ad hoc committees, an ad hoc committee has a specific charge. And when they accomplish that charge, it's over, you know? So I just want to hope people understand that. Director English.
I just think that ad hoc committees are not necessary. Adding staff and expense every time we add them. Certainly a purchasing ad hoc committee, in my opinion, is not something that is needed because it's been going on for month after month, year after year. And,
Yes, Director English, it may have a thing there, but this is GRF, and maybe we should bring that up with them. I mean, and now, Michaela, this is going to be complicated because we're going to have to have this approved with the changes. We can read them, or are we all agreed to the changes? Director Ross.
I'd like to add my name onto the Insurance Ad Hoc Committee as well.
Well, there'll be three of us.
Yeah, and I'm supposed to be on the United Landscape Committee. It's not showing my name.
You were an alternate.
No, but it doesn't show my name at all.
No, it doesn't show his name at all.
Okay.
Landscape?
Wait a minute, I'm on the wrong page.
No, I think Pearl Lee dropped out of the landscape committee, and Lenny is supposed to be on it.
So you can take
my phone.
So, Director Lee, you're off landscape, right?
Right.
And Ross is Director
Yes,
Ross going to
yes.
take your place. Michaela, did you get that? Okay, are there any other changes? Director Lee?
Hi, I'd like to be on the website ad hoc committee if there's a room.
Oh, the GRF website?
GRF, yeah.
So Michaela, on the GRF website committee, we're going to have Director Ascari and Director Lee.
Yeah. And I have,
And Director Ross, you want it on it too?
No, that's you.
Oh, he's on the,
It's
you
you.
see, so it's Director Lee, Director Ascari,
And you
Yeah.
put yourself on.
and myself. Okay, Michaela?
and
Director Lee?
yes, another question. If you need another director on maintenance and construction committee of United Mutual, I would like to be considered. But if there's no room, then that will be okay. That will be fine.
Which one?
Maintenance and
Maintenance and
construction,
construction.
United. Because at one point, I was told that they need,
Well, do you want to serve on that committee?
yes, if I could.
Okay, you can put that on there, so Michaela, drop me off and put Director Lee on the Maintenance and Construction Committee.
Three.
We can only have two if they're GRF.
Right.
No.
No, this is our, you're talking about the United Committee, right, Director Lee?
Yes, yes.
Okay, no, we're good. Are there any other
Yeah,
deletions?
and if
or
there's no
omissions?
room, then I would be happy to be an advisor. So, okay.
So Michaela, did you get all this?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So we move on now, board? Can we accept the committee assignments as discussed?
Anthony, there is a correction for the advisors to the United Landscape Committee.
Yeah.
The advisors are Annie Zipkin and,
I never approved that. I have an issue with that.
okay, then I will
What's
withdraw
the-
my comment.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as the advisors go, I'd like to give that authority to the chair. So who are the advisors now on it?
Just withdraw my comment. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
for right now.
All right, so if there are no more comments, we'll approve the assignments as written down. Okay? Thank you very much. Let's move on. Lost my position here now. Okay, now on item 12B, discuss and consider Globe subscription.
Mr. Chair, should we vote on that? The motion is on the table.
Well, I asked
We
if there
didn't
was
vote.
any objections.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No objections?
No.
Then
Thank
it's approved by unanimous consent unless you want to object. Okay. So item B, discuss and consider Globe subscription for United board members. Well, let's discuss that. Or do we want to make a motion on that, or do we want to discuss it?
Yes, I would like to make a motion.
Director Ascari, you're going to make a motion?
Yes, I
Let's
would
have
like
it,
to make
please.
a motion that all directors, while they are volunteering, they receive the glue. So,
I second.
okay, so Director Ascari has made a motion for all the directors to receive copies of the Globe, and it's been seconded by Director Nardani.
And can I give the background? Because I make the motion, I read the background, why.
Sure,
you're saying.
yeah, go ahead.
Staff recommends, it is in page 102, you can see. Staff recommends the Finance Committee approve the purchase of a Globe subscription for each requesting United Board member at the rate of $25 per annual subscription. It's just $25 for the whole year. The background is the OC Register published a monthly newspaper titled The Globe, reporting on news local to Laguna Woods. Discussion, board members expressed interest in being provided a subscription to the Globe for the purpose of staying aware of current Laguna Woods events and services offering. I will add, and all concern of the residents. The financial analysis of this, effective February 13, 2022, the cost of the annual subscription increased to $25. If all 11 United Board members elect to subscribe the publication, the expenditures will amount to a total of $275. And the reason is, I think this is educational for all of the board members. It should be received, and also is optional. If somebody doesn't want it, they don't need it to get it. But if they want to get, they have. For example, we all received this one. It is a paid, because it's essential for us to have this kind of publication, including this Globe. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ascari. Very good presentation. So it's been moved and seconded. Now it's time for discussion. Director Blackwell.
I'm a little bit puzzled by this. I've had a subscription to the Globe since I moved here. I don't find $25 a year odious. I find it embarrassing to ask the members to do that, and that's all. I mean, $25 a year. I am embarrassed. It's good news. It's not always official news, see? So it isn't put out by the association. It's not put out by us. It's put out by the Orange County Register. So it is separate newspaper. It is not our newspaper, but they do our news. I just always felt responsible enough to pay the $25 myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Blackwell. Director Casey.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I don't have it, and maybe I would look at it. Maybe I would read it. Maybe I'd see what the sales are and what the complaints are, what the editorial things are. I have never had a subscription. My husband had it, which stopped in 2016, so I'm all for it.
we have any other discussion? Director Torn.
Yes, I'm glad this issue finally surfaced. I think there's a lot of pertinent, important information in there that will provide board members to understand their letter to editors, a lot of information in there. There's a lot of reports on the outstanding issues, and from residents' point of view, from a journalist's point of view, what's happening in the village. It's not just board feeling, it's somebody else's point of view. So it's very important for us to have that. I subscribe it every year, and I think it should be provided to, because this is we do volunteer work. It's just $25. If somebody said, like Director Blackwell doesn't want to take advantage of that, then it's $250. So it's really not that much expense to us, but it enhanced the understanding and communication between the board members and the residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Torn. And once again, you direct your comments to the chair and not mention another board of director by name. Thank you. Director Ross.
Yeah, I think if we tallied, most of the board members, I think most of us already have subscriptions and would opt out of that and wouldn't need the help from our community to pay for that. And I have a subscription for it, and therefore I would opt out on it. And I would think most of our board members already have subscriptions. But in case of those who don't, I think it's a valuable source of information, and I would vote for it just for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ross. Director Akrakar.
As a member of the community, it's our responsibility to know what the community is. And I have the subscription from day one when I joined. I don't understand why we should transfer that cost to the general public. Everyone is expected, and I don't think this should be made a burden, even though it's $25 times 11, that's a lot of money. And if you're trying to save, even $1 is worth $1 to save. So I would suggest that every individual should subscribe to it, especially if you're on the board. It's a moot point to make the whole community pay for your copy. This is not fair.
Thank you, Director.
I have my subscription.
Director Akrakar. Director Lee.
Well, I feel that it's, we shouldn't just dwell on this issue. I think whoever has the subscription should continue to have it. For those who doesn't have it, maybe we should offer. It's a nice gesture for our directors. So I think it's very simple. So we just find out who has existing subscription, then let them continue to have their own. And for those who doesn't have it, we offer. So all of us, the main thing is that we all need to be informed. And we want to have this available to all of us. It's not, $25 or, I don't think it's a matter of the figures, but we should make it available to everybody. So we should all be informed. Thank you. And, we should just, is that qualify as a motion?
Well, it's been motioned and seconded by Director Nardani.
Yeah, but for
So
those
we're
who
now-
already
we're
has
now
it,
having a
we
discussion.
should not, they have a choice.
It is a choice.
Yeah,
You
give
can
them a
have it
choice,
or
yeah.
not. A motion is there, and if there is no discussion, we can go to vote.
Okay, so Director Bastani.
I think we've talked enough about this. It's only $300. We shouldn't waste more time on it. Let's vote
Yes,
and
let's
finish.
move.
Okay, so are we ready for the vote on this motion? Director McCalla.
There are a couple of speakers that would like to speak on this agenda item. Would you like them to speak now?
Okay, directors, okay, let them speak. Who?
Okay, so the first one is Susan Manor 509B. Oh, okay, thank you. All right, so then we have Richard Rader, Manor 270D.
Mr. Rader.
Is the mic on? Okay, sorry. I'm an advisor on the Finance Committee. To my knowledge, this did not come up during the Finance Committee meeting.
It was. It passed.
Well, I was there and I didn't hear it. But anyway, staff recommends.
Yes.
It's not the staff recommending, it's the board, isn't it? But anyway, to move on, I'm embarrassed
Okay.
by this proposal. I'm embarrassed for the board. Because if you went out with the community today, I wonder what they would say. I think I know what they would say. I am totally embarrassed by this. First of all, I believe, and maybe somebody who's more computer literate would know, I believe that you could get the globe for free through the internet. That's number one. I think you can through the orange, well, as I said, that needs to be investigated.
it's not true.
Okay. If somebody, well, what are you going to get from the globe? The only thing I could think of as a board member is that you would want to look at the editorials, because that's where people are giving you information supposedly from the community. I don't think we should be paying for anything else like entertainment things and what's going on in the clubs. That's not what you should be interested in. So it's the editorials. I'm going to make two offers to you for free. One, I will make my copy available immediately after I read it to anybody that doesn't want to wish to pay $25. My second offer is, if you want to, I will copy the editorial comments and I will email them to you. I'm not being facetious. I'm being serious. I'm embarrassed for the community and for this board to have brought this forward. Please do not pass it.
Thank you, Mr. Rader.
We also
Miguel?
have Elsie Addington, Manor 212Q.
Thank you. I think it's 2121Q, but that's okay.
Thank you.
No problem. I basically echo everything Dick says. If anybody's, this is not directly business related. It's interesting to read the Globe, but most of the Globe does not relate to your business. In fact, hardly any of it relates to your business. And I also can make my Globe available, although I share it with somebody else, but I'll be glad to make it available to some. This is a personal expense, and I don't care if it's $300. I don't care if it's $200. It's our money, and it's a personal expense, and it's extra work for staff. So I absolutely, and if you want to read it, subscribe to it. Go to the library. Or go to the library and get a copy there. Thank you.
Michaela?
That is all for this agenda item.
Okay, thank you. Director Casey?
I mean, I don't care if you pass it or not, but I don't get it, and I'm not going to get it. So if I get it from the board, fine. I had to steal Andre's next door to read those comments, that the editors' comments and things like that. I'm just not going to buy it. So it's up to you. You want me to read it? Pass it. If you don't, forget it.
Director Blackwell? Director Blackwell?
Thank you. The editors do not make comments. Those are letters to the editors by individual residents. So they carry no weight. They're informative if you want to read all the different opinions about all kinds of things. And some of them are excellent and some of them are like the clouds floating by. It doesn't matter. They carry no weight. Any resident can come here and sit right here and speak to us directly. They don't need to write to the Globe, but they do write to the Globe. So it is letters to the editor. Michaela has something.
Yes, I'm so sorry. There is actually one more speaker, if that's okay with you guys. It's Maxine McIntosh, Manor 68C.
put the wrong letter on that. I think by now I know better. You know, I've always been a strong advocate of people reading the Globe. My husband and I have subscribed for 25 years, and the year before we moved here, he bought me a mail-in subscription that was sent to us every month while we waited for him to turn 55 so we could move down here. So I'm a strong advocate. The Globe is the only paper now that gives us a TV guide for our own village television. When we moved here, the Register put out a separate TV guide in the 90s. And every week you got a fresh TV guide just for the village. That was wonderful, but it didn't last. So I understand the strength and the information that can come. But I would not want to see you make this move. Time and again through the years, the board has been offered, why don't you do this? You know, everybody volunteers and pay for it. Don't make them pay for it. How about buying them paper for their computers when we finally all got computerized? But every time, the times I was on the board and other times, the board turned it down. The board wanted to stay really untainted about expecting any kind of pay. The one thing that's always been a part of the board life and should continue is the lunch. Only on this day, the day of the board meeting, so that the board can choose the time best to take a break for lunch and not all go off in different directions. Then you wait for everybody to come back. You know how that goes. Not everybody gets back at the same time. Somebody falls asleep. So that was seen as an investment in good board operation. But please, just continue the way you are. If you want the Globe, subscribe to it. If you don't, that's up to you. But please don't ask the community to pay. It's a little thing, but it's beginning to be a crack in that very strong front the board has maintained all these years of not expecting pay, of doing this strictly as a volunteer business. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxine.
Can we answer, and then the amount is not
Director
that
Ascari?
much? Yes, thank
You
you,
have the floor.
Mr. Chair. The amount is, as Director Bastani said, is not that much. I just respond to some of you that you said. The amount of the snack in one day of here is more than the whole year of 275. I'm not talking about the lunch, I'm talking about the snacks. So in that case, is informative, as the Director Blackwell says, is what people riding there. We are not saying is right or wrong, we're not equating, but we have to be aware. Exactly like when people coming here and they gave opinion, we might be right, we might be agree with them, we might not be agree with them. It's just information that we believe, I believe, that director must knows, and we are volunteer, and this must be really available. I don't know why we should even talk about. Mr. Chair, if you agree, we just go to the vote. If it is no, is no. If it is yes, it's not worth it for 11 people talk about $200 this much. We have more stuff in this agenda.
Thank you, Director Ascari. So
Yes,
if we're
we'll
ready
call the order, just go
if
to
we
the
take,
vote.
we're ready for
Yes.
the vote?
Yes.
What
Okay.
is the motion?
Director
The
Lee?
motion is just, we get for $25 for those director that they want. If you are subscribed and you don't want it, you don't need it, for example, maybe 2 or 3 only be available. Whatever they want, it is not mandatory that they're gonna buy for everyone. If you are subscribed, you don't need it, and when you need it, is available. And that's all. And Mr. Chair, could you please go for the vote? And we have more agenda.
Thank you, Director Ascari. We will put this now to the vote. We're ready for the vote. So all in favor, the motion has been made and it's been seconded by Director
Yes.
Ardani. All in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Favor?
Yeah, all in favor, raise your hand, please.
Okay.
Michaela, you have the count?
Yes, give me 1 second, everyone, if you could keep your hands up. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yes.
Okay.
Yes, it did pass.
So we have 5 negative votes. Everybody who's against it, raise your hand, please. So make sure we get a good clean count. I don't need complaints. You got that,
Oh.
Michaela?
May I point out that the resolution and the board report are incorrect?
You're
You didn't.
Out of order, sit down. Okay, passed. Item number 12C. 12C now, recommendation to approve the request for a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $184,760 to fund a portion of the proposed Canary Pine Tree Grove reduction project to include consultant cost to further study the project before moving forward. Diane, do you want to talk to us about that?
Yes, I would like to. It's kind of worded wrong, I think. This money, I mean, 50,000 was excess money that was left, and
Could you come closer, please?
the wording on this, that 184,000 is going to fund the portion of the tree project, that's not correct. This money is just being moved over to the trees, and that this way they'll be able to hire a company to study what is going to happen with the Canary Island pine trees. But the money is just in the trees, you know, for, it could be used for maintenance or whatever later, but he wanted to be able to hire somebody to do this environmental study, and so part of that money would be used for that, but it's money that's already in the budget. It's not new money. This is just money that's in the budget. And if Siobhan wants to talk about it?
I was going to ask Kurt to come up very
Oh,
quickly
good.
and give a
Kurt.
summary.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all back. This supplemental appropriation, as Diane alluded to, is money left over from last year. Last year, we went 3 months without tree trimming. So this is money that was budgeted last year and was not expended. So the plan is to move it forward. Part of this money will be used last week to give everybody a little update on the tree project. Is the committee put the contract award on hold and directed staff to hire an outside arborist to do a review of the proposed tree removals. Also to hire an environmental company to do an environmental review due to all the residents' concerns about the environmental impact. There are no funds available in our current 2022 budget to pay for those items. So the plan was to move this money from last year to this year. Should the project go forward, these funds would be used for that. If the project does not go forward, the balance of these funds would be used to make up for the tree trimming we did not do last year. So it's just moving money from last year's budget to this budget that did not get spent.
So, Kurt, are you happy the way this is worded?
I believe it represents what the original intent was. If the project goes forward, these funds would be used for that. If the project does not go forward, the funds would be used for tree maintenance.
Okay.
Could we change
Director
that
Blackwell?
motion? Could we change that motion to word, to say that?
It does say that. If you go to page 7 of 8 of 12C, it's pink. The things are out of order, so go to the pink page. Item 12C, 7 of 8. It's 0122XX, attachment 2, it says. And it says, funds for the tree maintenance, directed staff to solicit the professional services of a third-party arborist.
Director Blackwell, can you turn your microphone?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's 122XX supplemental appropriation for professional services, going to the second paragraph. United Landscape Committee directed staff to solicit the professional services of a third-party arborist and an environmental specialist to review the proposed Canary Island pine tree removal project in fiscal year 2022. This appropriation, of course, is from the leftovers, so it's not a new budget item. So I move this item.
Okay,
So that
Director Blackwell has moved this resolution, 0122XX. Yeah, well, she's moved it now. Do we have a second? Director Ross, second. Director Nordani, you have the floor.
Thank you. Sorry, Chair, I have a question. This month, the 184, that is the extra money, but anyhow, you guys didn't do the tree trimming, and you should use it for tree trimming. I mean, is that, I know that is extra, but anyhow, you didn't do something.
That is correct. That is the, when this Canary Island project was first proposed last year, the plan was to not impact the budget of United, was to use funds already allocated for trees to move forward with the project. So the project is currently on hold. So the plan is, should the project go forward, the funds would come out of the same bucket that the plan originally was from the committee, from the landscape committee. That makes sense? This project has been in the works for several years. And the plan was, like I just said, was to not impact the current tree budget, not to impact your budget any further. It was to be used from existing budgeted funds. So these are budgeted funds from last year. So if the project had gone forward last year, it would have come out of these funds last year. If it went forward this year, it would come out of this year's funds. So all we're doing is moving money from last year's tree maintenance budget to this year's tree maintenance budget.
But do you have the code or something from the environmental specialists and these peoples that they want to do and do the investigation? Do you have a code for it?
A quote?
How much
No,
they want
we
to
are
charge
not.
us?
We are not permitted. Our purchasing rules were not permitted to advertise a project until we have the funds available to pay for that project. So I can't advertise for a project I don't have the funds for. So once we get the supplemental appropriation, I can therefore advertise for bids.
Okay, thank you.
Director
Doctor,
Escari?
yes, thank you. Well, this price for just getting opinion, 184,000, is a lot. All you needed to just get some opinion about, extra opinion about what we are going to do with these trees. Am I understanding correct or not?
Yes, we estimate about $50,000.
50,000, that's more reasonable.
So, but
How,
like their question, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but the question was these funds were originally intended to use for tree trimming, and that tree trimming did not get done last year. So provided with this project being on hold, the majority of the balance of these funds will be used for tree trimming.
what I suggested, if, of course, the chair of the landscape is here, we just consider 50,000 for this, so you can get the bid and then keep going, and the rest of that back to the budget for the landscaping, but back to the budget rather than directly, specifically going to the tree trimming.
It'll all go into the tree maintenance budget, which which is exactly where those proposals for the outside consultants will come from. It will all come from the tree budget.
Okay, so, Diane?
Yeah.
Diane?
Yeah, well, I just had a question. So this money that's extra, was that 21 or 22 or?
21.
21.
21.
Okay, so we had this extra money in 21, which is over, and now, I know there was 50,000, and I guess there was more, and so if we could just differentiate that we're going to use 50,000 possibly for these studies, and then any excess would be for tree maintenance, or funding some part of the project. I mean, you're going to need more money, to do this tree trimming project. So, I mean, I think that should be a budget item after the study's done.
All tree maintenance costs come out of the tree budget, whether
Yeah.
whether they are consultants or tree trimming or tree removal.
Yeah.
All of that comes from the same line item in the budget. So when we put it in there, it's all in the same line item.
Okay.
We don't differentiate between the different tasks within the tree trimming budget when we budget for it.
Did you have 184,000 excess in '21?
Yes.
You did, okay. All right, well then, I would
Direct-
say, it does say in here that it is, to fund a portion of the proposed Canary Island pine tree reduction project. So that portion is to have these consultants right now, right?
Yes.
And then the rest is part of the tree maintenance.
All right. Director Bastani.
I have a question. We want to spend $184,000. What do we expect to get from this professional service? Well, irrespective of where the money comes from, to tell us remove the tree or not? What do we expect to get?
What the committee has directed staff to do, the proposed Canary Island Pine Tree project was put together by in-house arborists. So the committee would like us to get an outside arborist, sort of an unbiased opinion, to look at the trees to make sure that our evaluations are valid. And then the second one would be to hire an environmental specialist to look at the environmental impact of removing the trees.
What was your evaluation so far? To
Of the-
remove?
We originally identified, based upon the criteria given to us by the board and the landscape committee, we originally identified 393 trees. At last month's landscape committee, that tree count was cut down to 293 trees. So we will be evaluating those 293 trees left on the list.
Yeah, but what I'm not clear still is that giving this money to a professional people to tell us what, remove the tree or not remove?
Yes, that is correct.
That's okay, thank you.
Thank you, Director Bastani. Director Blackwell.
Thank you. This came out of the meetings that we had with landscape and all of the speeches that we had at our last board meeting. Those people wanted an environmentalist report. They wanted an outside arborist. This is a request from those who all spoke so well, so eloquently for the last two meetings. So this is to assure them that it isn't just us or our department that thinks this is a good idea and what idea. And so it is to put a neutral group give an opinion on it, not our staff and not our board. They wanted neutrality, and this is the neutrality that they were asking for. So if we don't approve this, then they will feel that neutrality has not been heard from, an outside voice has not been heard. So I would suggest that for the satisfaction of the numerous well-spoken people, that we do approve this to get the neutrality. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Torn.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to share my thoughts on this one. Talk about $275. We have so many people embarrassed. And talk about this $184,000. I don't see people coming up and say we're embarrassed.
Good point.
Okay, so the question at this point is, what is the reason that, who are we trying to satisfy? We're trying to satisfy the residents. They are the one that's coming out and complain. Okay, so why don't we listen to the residents? When we cut the tree, let them voice their voices rather than neutrality, outside people coming in and tell us what to do. Let's listen to the residents. That's what we need to do. And make sure that when we spend this, I don't know what this $184,760 is for. If it's for cutting the tree, and then if we decide to cut the tree, this $184,000 is included in there. Then it's a free cost to me. We decided we're going to cut the trees. Some trees must be cut. Okay, so if it's necessary, yeah, if it's $184,000 included, then let's go for it. It's really actually no cost to us. But if it's in addition to the cost, I heard something about $50,000 to cut the trees, then we are wasting the money. Talking about $275. I felt that a lot of people are nickel dime on things, but just let this big one number and say, it's a neutrality. We need to have a third party. No, we don't want a third party. We want to listen to the residents. That's what we need to do. And listen to the residents. When you cut a tree, it's very simple. When you cut the tree, put a yellow tag on it, put a post on it, say, sign up, and when you are against of it, because certain reasons, and talk to them, and then they will tell you the environment reasons. They will tell you the impact to them. But I honestly believe you did a good job. Okay, there probably won't be too many people against it. But that's the misunderstanding that they thought that you are doing things without their consent. That's what I want to say. Let's communicate. It's the execution side. It's not the funding side. It's not the budgeting side. The community side, if the communication side is done right, I think you're going to do a fantastic job, and the residents will love you because you had their opinions on your mind. We don't need a neutrality. We need their opinions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Torn. Director Casey.
You know, this project was initiated by a previous landscape committee, given the VMS the direction to come up with a plan. Now, it is against our procedure. You know, our procedure is to cut a tree down when it is dying, diseased, impairing pavement. These trees are vital, you know, because they're good for the environment, because they're drought resistant. Now, they're looking at taking down now 300 trees instead of 400 trees. And that's because they're just going to say, all right, all these trees lined up against these buildings, which are not impairing anything, are going to go. You know, there's like over 100 of those trees. Should we take down all those trees? No, I don't think so. It all happened because there's some complaints, you know. So I think the reason we kind of settled to say, all right, if we're going to have a project, we'll really identify if it is environmentally correct to take out some trees in a grove. I don't think that trees, because there's a roof nearby, should be taken out. So the study would give guidance on that issue. Should they be taken out or not? Now, hopefully we get somebody who, you know, really knows the environment and what's good for us in California. You know, that's a gamble because I don't know, what are they going to say? So I think the study and this group, this ad hoc committee that we're going to have with 8 residents of Laguna Woods that are very, very knowledgeable. They've sent in their applications to the CEO's office. We're going to have a committee, which I'm going to be chair of, and we're going to go over, you know, these reports that we get, and we're going to decide, you know, Kurt has done a map. He's identified trees. I haven't seen it. I don't know. You know, I'd like to know, you know, what it is that he'd like to do and why, and not that it's a nuisance, you know, that it's just needles. In fact, that, you know, they do collect these needles and they do things with them. You know, they use them for mulch. So it's, and also they're saying that the needles should be kept on the soil where the trees are, so that that's a natural environment. mainly what it was to take, I know $50,000 that was left in one part, but I guess there's more, and just to make sure it's available still for trees, and that he can hire a company to, come in and evaluate the environment and decide, what is good for us, It's a noise, it keeps the noise down. It's a good habitat, for birds and wildlife, and it's beautiful. I mean, I can walk around and look at this beautiful forest, that I see of all different kinds of trees, not only Canary Island pines. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Director Casey.
Lenny.
Director Ross?
I think the resolution could be a little clearer in that if you all look at the pink page, page 7 of 8, if you look at the second to the last paragraph, and if you replace the number 184,760 with around 50,000, because that's really the expense we're talking about. And so I think with that change, we're not spending 184,000, we're spending around 50,000. I think that's important for this resolution to make that amended change, and then I'd be glad to vote on it.
Thank you, Director Ross. I have only one observation. 50,000 is something the Kirk just pulled out. I mean, right? I mean, it's just an estimate. So, Director Ascari.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I think we are going to the loop right now. While I am hearing everybody says is going to the two different things. One, the evaluation, that how much, and the rest of that, how much we are going to spend. I think the problem right now is we have to make a little bit boundary between these two. Of course, this $184,000 depends to this project and must stay in this project. We're agree with that. But is it, with your knowledge, possible that we change this one to the up to 50,000 goes for getting some opinion, and then the rest of them still stay there until the opinion comes? If they said, for example, we want only cut 50 trees, so we don't need this much money to cut the trees because it's only 50 rather than 400. We don't know what they are going to say. As Director Casey said, is gambling. Maybe they come back with 400. We don't know. So it's a gambling. And since we don't know and it's a question mark, I am asking you, because you are the head of the department, is it possible we just give the money for getting the second opinion, and then the rest of that, we love to see you here again and we discuss what we should do with the rest? Is it possible? Is it satisfying with you?
Yeah.
I wanted to know that.
Well-
The first step is getting second opinion. That's the
Right.
first step. Respond to the residents. Residents want second opinion. And we wanted to follow with this huge response from residents. Residents were angry that they weren't enough outside opinion. So my request is, by your estimate, you said about 50,000, maybe less, hopefully not more. We just go up to 50,000 for getting some information from outside services, from someone from out come and evaluate how much we needed and how many trees we needed. Do you think we can go one step at a time and just go that one?
We could do whatever pleases the board. The thought is, as I previously mentioned, the funds we're referring to were originally appropriated for tree trimming. So the thought was to put all that money back in the tree trimming budget and pay for these outside expenses, the unexpected expenses of the outside consultants, and the balance would go to tree trimming or tree removals. Part of the tree maintenance program, we do tree removals regularly, and we do tree planting regularly. All of those come out of the tree budget. Last year, we went 3.5 months without any tree work. So this money represents that. So the thought was to put that back into the tree budget for use this year, whether it goes towards tree trimming or whether it goes towards tree removals or both. But it will go back. This is money you originally budgeted for tree maintenance, and it would go back into the tree maintenance budget to be used for the various things we do in tree maintenance.
Thank you, Mr. Kurt, for information. But the request that I said, first we figure out how much we needed. If the opinion came and said only 50 trees must be cut, and we have a budget for tree trimming this year, so please understand this is going to be add to the budget that we have for 2020. 2022 already has a budget for tree trimming. So we have a budget, and this is going to be on the top of that budget that comes. Am I right? 2022 has a budget for tree trimming. So that's one budget, and this is going to go add to that. So my request is first get some opinion, how much and how many trees we are supposed to cut, and the rest of the money later goes to that.
And how would you like us to handle the trees that were not trimmed last year?
But this is for only for pine trees. This is not for the total. The one that you didn't do, he said it, am I right? It says only this belongs to this project. In this resolution, at least says, they said this is the over from this project. That's why it's right down here. It's not from the total other project. The fund, I am reading you, in the amount of 100 to fund to a portion of pine tree reduction. So my request is just get the opinion first with 50,000, up to 50,000? No?
Okay, thank you, Director Escar. Remind everybody here, we're in debate now on this resolution, so that's where we're at.
Could I make a motion?
It's already been a motion made by Director
Just
Blackwell to,
She may want
Revise it.
to amend it.
Amend
the
it?
motion? Can I amend the motion?
yeah, you can amend the motion. You're making a motion to amend it. What's your,
I'd like to make a motion to approve a request for a supplemental appropriation of, in the amount of $184,760 to fund up to $50,000 for a consultant to study the pine tree project. The balance to go back into the tree trimming and removal budget for 2022.
I think is what Mr. Kurt wants,
Wait a
actually.
Wait a minute.
Is it
That's right.
exactly what he wants?
Wait
So-
a minute. She just made a motion. Michaela, did you get all that? Can you repeat it for us, please?
Yes, there was a motion to approve the funds up to 50,000 for a consultant to study the project. Is that correct?
Diane, is that correct?
Yes, the project,
All right, so
the
this
pine
is-
tree project.
So this is a motion to amend this resolution here.
Right.
So we have a second. Director Ross, you second it? All right. Now let's talk about the
Could
amendment.
she just finish the balance of that? Like, what was the rest, the balance to the tree trimming and removal budget for 2022?
So Michaela, would you report? Do you get that all down? Repeat it, please, the whole thing.
Yeah, Casey, can you?
Repeat it?
Yes,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
To approve the request for a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $184,760 to fund up to $50,000 for a consultant cost to further study the pine tree reduction project and the balance to the tree trimming and removal budget.
So Michaela, could you repeat that, please, for us?
Yes.
This is an amendment.
To approve the request for a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $184,760 to fund up to $50,000 for consultant cost to further study the pine tree reduction project and the balance to the tree trimming and removal project.
Budget. Just budget.
Budget, okay, thank you.
All right, so we have a motion that's been seconded by Director Ross.
Can we talk about it?
Now
Second.
we can talk about it, yes, Director English.
I'm just concerned that we're taking money from tree trimming and putting it into tree removal. I think we might have an issue here where we're violating the Davis-Turling. We might, because in fact, we're taking money out of the reserves and putting it into operating expenses.
No.
We're not doing that?
I think it's all reserved.
No, it's
All
all
reserve.
reserved.
It's all reserves?
In one bucket, all reserved, I think.
So even the tree trimming is,
Yes,
It's all reserved.
yes.
okay,
Okay. Anybody else?
That's a question.
like that.
Director Torn?
Maybe I didn't get my point clear. Okay, I am not interested in outside consultant points. They don't live here. They don't know this place well.
But Director Corn, remember now, we're debating now an amendment to this thing.
Right,
That's
right.
what we're debating right now.
Right,
Please
right.
stay on subject.
Yes, I am working on that. My question at this point is, we spend $50,000 on the consultant, okay? That's $50,000 that we didn't listen to the residents. I'd rather have we spend $50,000, listen to the residents, and then make the decision and say, they want this tree, they are okay with this tree removed, they don't okay with the other tree removed, and we talk to them and say, what happened, why? And then we come to an agreement. That's called respect the residents. We respect the outside consultant very much. But I would prefer that we respect residents and make sure that their opinion counts. The whole issue is about miscommunication. It's not about the budget. It's not about the funding. Okay, so that is very central to my message at this point. If we can spend $50,000 on the residents, I think we will get a lot more credits from our residents, from our members. The second issue I want to talk about is VMS has a tendency to make the statements that we will do whatever board want us to do. Okay, I really have trouble with that. We are not landscape experts. If the VMS is trying to say, whatever you say, we'll do it, then we need to listen to the expert. Now that's why we have an outside consultant, hiring outside consultant to do the thing that VMS experts supposed to do. So in that case, what I'm trying to say is, please, board, I am not a landscape expert. When I approve their recommendation. Doesn't mean I approve whatever the basic principle behind it is correct. I have no clue what basic principle is behind it. There's a landscape principle behind it. If you want me to talk about the IT principle, I know them all. But I don't know anything about the landscape. So I approve VMS recommendation. I'm not saying I propose this one to impose this one on the board, on the VMS. So please don't say we will do whatever board wants to do. The experts with VMS should say, if you want to do it this way, here's the damage, here's the problem. If you want to do it that way, follow our approach. This is the best way. That's what we need, expert opinion. Not just, yes, ma'am, yes, board, you want us to do this, we'll do this one. That's not what we want. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Torn. Director Blackwell.
Thank you. In this project, there will be a resident committee inspecting every tree. Let me repeat that. In this project, there will be a resident committee inspecting every tree in question. Aside from that, the people in the audience wished to know what environmental impact there would be to the removal of trees. And so that is a different issue. They wanted an environmental impact survey like that, an environmental expert to explain the effect on the environment. So this one is for the environmental expert and the third-party outside arborist. So we will have the residents, we will have the arborist, and we will have the environmental study, and we will have the staff report. That will make the entire project complete, sensible, verifiable, and understandable for everyone. So I am in favor of the amended resolution.
Michaela, do we have a second on that? On the amendment?
Yes, Lenny.
Oh,
Yes.
Lenny, okay.
Yes.
Are we ready for the vote on this amendment? Michaela?
I do want to
Lee-
say
Lee
that there are a handful of speakers that would like to come up, if that's okay with the board.
Yeah?
And Pearl would like.
Wait, Director Lee first.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a brief comment. We were talking about the communication with the resident, and I value that has the utmost importance. If you remember, our boardroom filled with residents in March, I believe, and I'm sure the Director Thong also watched that meeting on Zoom. But if you were here physically, you cannot forget that meeting because everybody came and they were very passionate. There were some very, very knowledgeable residents about the trees, and they brought all kinds of materials why they're against cutting all these trees, and they were against the project. And as a result, we had the landscape committee meeting following I think in the following week. And there were all kinds of communications between the board and the residents. And I think as a result of that communication, this resolution came up. So please don't misunderstand that we do not want the communication. We have done as much communication as we could. And it's a very hot topic among the residents, and so as our members. So we do respect the residents' opinion very, very, I think it's very, very important that we listen to them. And we have spent lots of time communicating with them, and this is the result.
Thank you, Director Lee. Yes, comments?
Yes, we have Esther Wright, Manor 172D.
Thank you. Well, I attended the meeting where there were about 25 people here. Everyone spoke against cutting down the trees, and I was very impressed with the level of intelligence and passion that people had about this process. Since that time, you may know that there's a petition being circulated that says, "We, the undersigned, oppose the plans for the mass removal of Canary Island pine trees in United Mutual. We request the board to follow the existing tree removal guidelines." We want to also acknowledge, we meaning those of us that are kind of working on this, in addition to you're working on this, we're meeting and talking as partners, not against the board, not against the landscape committee at all. In fact, we were very clear that the landscape committee, Maggie, Ms. Casey, and Kurt heard the residents speaking. We were very clear that we were listened to. So we didn't have this feeling of it's us against them at all. But there are some questions that we have that we want you to consider because ultimately the board will decide. So we know that for 3 months the trees weren't trimmed. And we know that we feel that much of the problem has to do with maintenance of the trees. That whatever problems that we are concerned about may be a result of that $184,000 not being used to maintain the trees. That's one thing to consider. The other thing to consider is the noise, disruption, and hazards of taking down 200 or 300 trees. There are about 9 of them surrounding my co-op, and I'm trying to imagine those trees being cut down around my house. The noise, the dust, the hazards. We don't know what kind of risks that'll occur for our co-ops and for the people who live in our co-ops. So I know that many of you who are on this board, and by the way, I'm very, very impressed with the diversity of this board. We need to be very proud of that, the diversity of this board. We have a lot of different people with different perspectives. However, the residents put you on this board, and many of you stood on a platform to listen to the residents and provide what the residents wanted and needed, and that you would be very conscientious about how our money was spent. And our means mine and yours. So when I heard $600,000, even though the reserves, I don't care if the reserves, that's our money. And we need to be very, very clear that this isn't just some money coming from some magical place. So there's a question about whether the problem right now is a maintenance of trees issue, and that there may be more creative ways of dealing with this, with the trees. Those of us that are meeting and talking and discussing the issue as residents are looking into the scientific environmental aspects of this issue. So like you, we're concerned about it. And again, it's not us and them. We're all working on this together. And I thank you for your commitment to it.
Thank you. We have Ann Beltran, Manor 8540.
I have no objection to the amendment to the proposed resolution as amendment. But I have a but. For these funds to be well spent, they must yield information which the proposed ad hoc committee to be dealt with in a couple of days, this opinion must yield information which that committee, its members, and the board can trust. So that means that the members of the committee should agree with the landscaping department on the scope and purposes of what is to be studied. Further, that the committee agree that the selected experts are the right people for the job. And I'm already hearing lots of questions and issues from people I talk to about that. Simply put, if the ad hoc committee and residents who don't want the pines removed do not trust the opinion of the outside expert selected, we will have accomplished very little in spending money on them. For this reason, I believe that the process we should follow is first to form the ad hoc committee, then ask them to review the proposed candidates to do further study, and then and only then to contract with outside experts. Nothing would build trust faster than to entrust the ad hoc committee with a veto power over who is selected to do the studies. This committee will presumably have members both opposing the mass removal as proposed, as well as some representation of differing views. If they can all agree at the beginning on what expert information will help them make decisions, this will be a huge step forward toward building more consensus. So please make the appropriation, but condition expenditures for tree experts on approval of the ad hoc committee to be formed. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Susan, Manor 509B.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I was one of those passionate people here on March 10th and then at the Landscape Committee too. And I told you then I had written a letter, and I submitted this letter to the directors of the Landscape Committee, Ms. Casey and Mr. Liberatore, and there are 257 signatures here of these residents. The most important thing is, I think, the transparency. I'm going to echo what was just said. I think the ad hoc committee needs to be trusted, and the people that spoke were not only eloquent and very educated on the canary pines and different trees in general, but I think the residents would appreciate knowing the steps along the way and the stages. And that's where, again, it goes right back to the globe. A lot of residents do read that globe, and I think they would like to be informed through that process of what's happening. And I agree, too, with the proposed amendment to the resolution written. I would just certainly like to see the word environmental study added to that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
We have John Manor 374A.
Yes, hello. I was actually at the first meeting, and I had indicated we just had moved in, and one of the reasons we purchased the manor we did purchase was because it was protected by the canary pines. We have 4 trees. They're about 50 or 60 feet tall. And from my eyes, they look healthy, but I have no real perspective on how the board or the committee is looking at these trees. I don't know if they're on the list. I don't know if there's a map of the proposed trees that are on the website. Is there a map? Does anybody know? Well,
Not yet.
I think it would be helpful. I mean, there's been identified trees, 300 something trees, 100 are, or 400 trees, 100 are off the list. So there's about 300. It'd be nice if there was a map with pinpoints so manors that are going to be affected would know this. I'm kind of freaking out, actually, of the idea of my trees being removed because they protect our house from the sun and they give a lot of, all the benefits people have mentioned. So the other thing is, I don't read the Globe. I don't subscribe to it. I barely know anything about it. I was at the last meeting. It would be nice if there was a process where people who sign up to speak or people could sign up to receive some kind of a email notice on progress of this type event so that we can follow it more closely. Those are my primary comments, and I appreciate the work everybody's putting in.
Thank you.
We also have 3 resident emails, and then that will be it for the
Okay.
resident comments. The first one is from Cheryl Nielsen, Manor 560B. Those are a part of the handouts that I handed to everyone up here, and there are some available up here if residents would like to pick up those handouts. For today's meeting, it's submitted, highlighted concerns. 1, Canary Island pines are a working asset, if not causing structural damage. 2, benefits economically and psychologically to residents and invaluable. 3, research shows thinning groves could upset the root system that work together and put remaining trees in jeopardy. 4, residents often chose their manors based on proximity to trees. Imagine the psychological impact with increased noise, heat, and air, conditioning costs, and loss of views of beloved trees. 5, cutting down healthy trees could leave a lasting scar on our community. 6, pine trees are known for reducing EMF radiation. 7, our unique environment has marketing appeal, and we need to preserve our economic value. The trees take care of us. Let's take care of the trees. Address the issues as a maintenance issue. Let's keep the woods in the woods. Please don't thin the groves or remove healthy trees. We have an email from Robert Miller, Manor 36F. I am glad to see that the earlier suggestion to remove 40% of the subject trees has been placed on hold. The identification of unhealthy trees that absolutely require a removal is a good start to the project. I'm sure that the residents of the village would appreciate seeing the committee develop a systemic plan for removal of those trees. Such a plan should cover not only location, but also a timetable for removal. The plan should also address a stump removal, kind of replacement trees to be planted, and how the disposal of the cut trees will be handled. The number of board feet available in each tree is significant and could possibly be sold to offset some of the cost of the project. That kind of a plan should be presented to the residents of United for comments and questions. The final decision is up to the board, of course, but it should not be made in isolation. And the final one is from Sean Joseph, Manor 190A. Dear valued members of the United Mutual Board, I write as a resident with many concerns remaining without expenses, mass tree cutting, and a process of adaptive management needed with respect to enhancing our village's aging stands of trees. Specifically, my concerns include some of the following. Will there be any steps in the proposed tree removal plan so that at each juncture, an advisory committee can review the results in light of the plan's stated objectives? Can residents, despite the staff's arborist recommendations, still object to the removal of specimens in their proximate vicinity? As you may recall from a previous presentation by me to the Landscape Committee, that I am an advocate of adaptive management as an effective approach to impacts on natural systems of even the best intentioned solutions for safeguarding the health of seniors and our surrounding natural community. I remain convinced that the Landscape Committee of United Mutual needs to keep a better set of advisors to reframe the existing situation as the fine work by Mr. Kurt Weinman has presented this plan to you. By that I mean, does this rather expensive expenditure meet these criteria of minimum cost for maximum effect, common expenditures being used to benefit the few at the assessment of many residents not bothered by trees, excising the contradictions in the proposed plan? That is to say, if you are spending money to remove turf, so what is the concern that some grass, turf, does not grow under some, yet not all canary pine scheduled for removal? Do we have a map of the work areas and the clusters that are to be thinned? While I applaud the removal of trees from the chopping block that screen out and muffle noises from the highways, has Director Kurt Weinman given you and your board or committee any indication of such a more detailed portrait of this project? Thus, both the expense and implementation of the proposed plan remain too important not to raise the above concerns for further remediation of your intentions. Thank you. And that is all.
Thank you, Michaela. All right. Now, remember, we're talking about an amendment to this resolution. Director Casey?
Can I make an amendment to the amendment?
No.
No? Yes. It's just
No, you can't.
It's just a little revision.
No, you take,
You can withdraw your mandate. You can withdraw your mandate and then make another one.
Okay, could I withdraw and make another one? It's just a little bit.
no, the amendment you can't make an amendment to the amendment.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
You have an amendment, you have to redo that.
It's just clarifying something.
Oh, so you want a word, you want to change a word
Yeah.
or something.
Just a little extra.
All right.
Could I read it? You can say
Yeah.
no.
Read it.
Okay. Everything stays the same up to the appropriation for $184,760 to fund up to $50,000 to engage professional services of a third-party arborist and environmental specialist chosen with the approval of the ad hoc committee and staff. The balance will go to tree trimming and removal budget. So it's just.
Director Casey, can you turn your mic on and repeat it one more time? I apologize. Thank
Sorry.
you.
Yeah, so after the comma, 184,760, to fund up to $50,000 to engage the professional services of a third-party arborist and environmental specialist chosen with the approval of the ad hoc committee and staff. And then the balance will go to the tree trimming and removal budget for 2022.
And-
It's actually in this pink page.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
it's
the
just
thing is,
clarifying it.
you can make word changes, but you can't make an amendment to an amendment.
Oh, okay. It's
So
just- it's
since
just
you're the
clar-
maker of the motion, you can tweak it a little bit,
Yeah,
yes.
it's just to add what was in this pink page, of what the study is.
All right, so do we have any more discussion? Director
Oh, did anybody
Blackwell.
second that amendment?
If you add in the committee residents, the committee.
Ad hoc? The committee ad hoc?
The ad hoc committee, but the landscape committee
Well-
and staff.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
That's obvious, right?
what-
I mean, it's got to get approved by the committee and then go to
Yeah,
the landscape, right?
The landscape committee, the ad hoc committee, and staff.
So what are we voting on, Michaela? And that's the end of it.
Okay. I agree.
What are we voting on, Michaela?
Okay, so let me know if I have this correct. I have motion to approve the request for supplemental appropriation in the amount of $184,760 to fund up to $50,000 to engage professional services of a third-party arborist and environmental specialist chosen by the Landscape Committee, ad hoc, and staff for the balance of the tree trimming and removal budget.
Okay.
And the remaining balance,
The remaining balance.
not for the remaining.
For the remaining,
So that
okay,
was
thank
it.
you.
That's the amendment to the amendment, and that was forwarded by Director Casey made the amendment. Was it seconded by
Yes,
Director
second.
Ross? Are we ready for the vote?
Yes, yes. No,
Yeah, but keep it short. It's getting late.
Okay, I just have a question. There are two things new things popping up. One is the subcommittee composed of residents, specialists.
But we're
they
not
have-
talking about that.
Yes.
We have an amendment here.
Yes.
Do you want to talk on the amendment to the amendment or not?
Yes.
Don't talk about any committees. We're not talking about committees.
Please don't interrupt me. I'm getting to that. Okay, there's a subcommittee that talks about getting residents. There's a funding about outside environmental study. What's the relationship between them? Who guides who? Who comes first? And then the other one comes in. Okay, I have some questions on that, so I don't know how to vote on this amendment at this point. May I have some clarification on that?
What clarification?
Is that clear, that my question?
Michaela, read the motion again so Director Torn can understand it. What's our amended motion?
No, I understand that, I hear the.
You said you didn't understand it, so Michaela's going to read it again.
I'm not talking about misunderstanding the words. I don't understand this. There were two things we talked about. One is an ad hoc subcommittee, okay, that composed of residents' opinions. The other one is.
Is the ad hoc committee in the amendment? Is there talk of an ad hoc committee?
Yes, it is in the amendment.
Okay, the other one is the outside vendor, okay, environmental study. Now, who leads who? Who's coming in first and give the result to the other one? Or vendor comes in, environmental analyst comes in and give the direction?
Well, maybe there is no order. Maybe
Or
they confer with each
other?
other. Maybe they confer with each other.
You're talking about maybe. We need to clarify that.
It's with the approval. With the approval, it's pretty obvious.
With the approval of
With the
what?
approval of landscape, ad hoc, and staff.
So ad hoc comes in first,
They're
then
gonna be
giving the
together
result to, okay. Giving the
Deciding
result to
on
the,
who they're gonna send it out, you know, I mean.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, is it even necessary to have a vendor if the resident decides this is what we want?
No, it is necessary.
That's not the motion. Are we ready for the vote?
Yeah.
I just have
We're talking about
one
$275
comment,
complaint.
please.
This is a $50,000 complaint.
Excuse me. I would just like to say, with all these different professionals that we're getting, these various consultants, environmental, da-di-da-di-da, this project's going to cost us a small fortune, and that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're now, Director Bastani.
If we put the three committees and say in respective order, then I believe what Andre was trying to say will be in place. Will be ad hoc committee and the other two, and say in respective order.
That's a good yeah, that's
What
good.
we're doing now is, so
Okay,
you want to
great.
debate this, some more, or you want to take a vote?
No,
No, we
just,
wanna take a
just
vote.
the
I just
wording, the order of
Said
the
in
wording.
clarification that we put them in respective order, so it covers the comment of
All
Andre,
right, but
which
we're
is asking
voting
who comes
we're
first.
voting on the amendment now. Do you want to change the amendment?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to change the amendment?
No, just can
No,
read
I
again.
just added
Can
one
you-
word.
It says chosen by, I mean, you can read it again.
If possible, if not, fine.
Can you read the motion again so the order we know?
Yes,
Sorry.
All
sure.
right, Michaela, give us the amendment to the amendment, please.
Okay, it's The motion to approve the request for supplemental appropriation in the amount of $184,760 to fund up to $50,000 to engage professional services of a third-party arborist and environmental specialist chosen by Landscape Committee, ad hoc, and staff for the remaining balance of the tree trimming and removal budget.
Thank you so much. So Andre, it clearly says proven by ad hoc was the
All right,
number one.
Director Escar, I didn't give you the floor.
Finish this one and vote it. That's why I'm trying to wrap it up.
All right, do we want to vote or we want to debate? All right, everybody knows the amendment to the motion that's on the floor. Everybody in favor of that, please raise your hand. Michaela, do you have the count?
Yes, give me 1 second.
Okay, everybody against it, raise your hand. So what's the vote?
It passed 7-3.
7-3, the amendment passes. So now what's our motion, since we amended it?
It is the same.
Well, I have to have it read. It's been amended, right? Calm down, relax.
Okay, give me 1 second. Thank you. All right, so then the motion that was approved, 7-3, was to approve the request for a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $184,760 to fund up to $50,000 to engage professional services of a third-party arborist and environmental specialist chosen by Landscape Committee, ad hoc, and staff for the remaining balance of the tree trimming and removal budget.
Thank you. Okay. Let's go on to number 13, new. We voted already. All right, well, let's vote on the amendment as amended.
Yes.
All in favor, raise your hands. Michaela, do you have the count?
Yeah, so it's the same, it'll be 7-3 passed.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Number 13, new business. Now, oh, but I'm sorry, I forgot we have from 11A, we have under unfinished business, the A, which is now 12D. Consistent with the statutory obligation under Civil Code 5501, a subcommittee of the board consisting of the treasurer and at least one other board member reviewed the United Laguna Woods preliminary financials for the month February 2020. Such review is hereby ratified. Director Escar, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you so much. At this point, I will not ratify for February until I receive the requested question that I had. At this point, the staff on VMS working very hard because we were in the audit project, and probably they didn't have enough time. Audit is a very hard job for them. I appreciate the work of VMS finance department. They work very hard, but pretty soon I am sure I receive, and I will ratify next month.
So Director Escar, you want to send this back to committee? What do you want to do with it?
It's just stay here, and next month I will ratify. I hope I will ratify.
Okay, thank you, Director Escar. We have any discussion on that? Okay, thank you, Director Escar. Let's move on. New business. I have nothing on the agenda.
I have one, Mr. Chair.
I think we should vote on that. We vote to put over the ratification for 1 month to the next board meeting.
Yes.
All right, who's going to make that
If I
motion?
receive, but
Make
there
the
is no
motion. Who's going to make the motion?
I just did.
I didn't hear you.
To put the ratification for April over. To put the, thank you, to put the ratification consistent with 5501 for the month of February over to the month of April, May,
Yes,
May.
I second it.
A motion made by Director Blackwell, seconded by Director Ascari. Okay, do we have any debate on this?
No,
I don't see any hands.
hopefully not.
So let's have a vote. All in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. That looks like it's unanimous, huh?
Yes, it's
Okay,
unanimous.
It's unanimous. All right, thank you very much. New business, I have none. Anybody else have anything?
Yes, I do. I would like to make a motion that all board meeting and committee meeting be as a hybrid, which give an option to in-person and online. And after this gets second, I will explain why I am in favor of that.
All right, so Director Ascari is making a motion that we go to, what, hybrid meetings? Is that what you're saying? All hybrid
Can
meetings.
have the hybrid meeting.
Yeah, you going to hybrid
I,
meetings?
I second it.
And it's seconded by Director Nardani.
Okay.
Now it's time for,
Point of order.
what's your point of order?
The agenda was approved in number 5, or in number 4, without the addition of that.
Excuse me, by Robert rules, I am reading for you, make a motion, raise hand, or stand up and ask to be recognized by chair. When you are authorized to speak, you can make a motion. Chapter 3, part 30 to 35, chapter 42, part 1 to 5. Motion can be added at any time that chair recognize, and it is the book right here, if you want.
Go to agenda.
No,
Yes.
Director Ascari is correct. You can make a motion. Because there's nothing on the agenda doesn't mean you can't make a motion.
Yes. Thank you. And since I make a motion, I would just give the first debate and say why I am saying.
Well, when you're making the motion, you're allowed to explain the motion.
Yes.
It's not a debate. Go ahead.
Okay. The reason I suggested this one, we are all volunteer, and we are 55 plus with lots of medical problem, family problem, and thanks to technology that at this point, this situation happened. We didn't have this one 10 years ago. Each of us, we don't know what's happened 3 months or 4 months from now. Then one session, maybe we be out of a state. Still, you can do your duty. Still, you can be in the, your voice can be heard, even you are out of a state. So it is necessary. If it was not necessary, David Sterling Act did not make that one to the, as an act. So this is written in David Sterling Act that all committee and board can be hybrid. Hybrid means we have option to be in person, and we have option to, just in case something happened, to be by Zoom or whatever VMS decided online. I wanted to mention that last year it was a joy that to see a director the whole year committed to her duty while taking care of her grandchild. So it was great to see do the duty for the grandchild and do the duty as a director. I was one time totally out of state overseas, but I was able to be attended. And these are our life. It's happened. We don't know. So please, really get to the point that you might need it for 3 months from now or 4 months from now to use one-time Zoom meeting. I'm not saying do not come to in person. It's so nice to see everyone, especially Director English, which I fell in love with that. But at the same time, please think about possibility that you might need it 4 months from now or 3 months from now at that time. Thank you.
All right, so that's been a motion by Director Ascari. It's been seconded by Director Nardani. Director Lee?
I have a question to Director Azar. I think
is that motion, does it mean that we have it available? Or, I believe that the in-person meeting is much more effective. I do, however, feel that there are emergency situations where we cannot come. And are we going to make that available for those occasions? Or are we making it available so you guys, some of us, can regularly attend hybrid Zoom meeting? Because if it
Hybrid
is,
means
Yeah,
available.
let me finish. If the motion is to have it available so we can use it in the emergency meeting, I'm for it. But I'm not for the, if the motion is to have it available so some of us can regularly attend a meeting on Zoom, I'm against that. So
It's just
clarify
available.
those motions. Is it only for the emergency to have it available?
We don't know emergency is available, and especially is available to the people as well. It doesn't mean that every time, for example, I love this one that I saw, I'm gonna come, because in person
Yeah.
is better.
Yeah.
But it is there just in case. We don't know what's happened.
Yeah, well, I believe that being,
Wait a minute,
being
you didn't
running
recognize the
for-
floor
I'm
here. Wait a
sorry,
minute.
I'm
Director
sorry.
Lee, are you done?
No, I'm not done. I have one more. I believe that before you run for the director, as a board director, one of the things that we really have to take it seriously is our responsibility. And I think one of the responsibility is to attend a meeting. But, Zoom came up because of the pandemic. But prior to that, we didn't have that option. So I feel that showing up for the meeting in person is very, very important unless there is an absolute emergency situation.
Thank you, Director Lee. Director Casey.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to have it available because an advisor wouldn't necessarily have to come to the meeting, but could go on, like Dick Rader was saying, and I know other advisors might not, come to the landscape committee meeting, so it is nice to have the board meeting and you also get lunch, but there are emergencies, like for instance, say you have an operation and you're recovering, you have to stay home, so you should be able to get on. That's my opinion.
Director Bastani?
One other advantage as well, for those who have got hearing and seeing problem, when they sit in front of their own computer, they can adjust the volume as well as the picture, so they can make a better decision. That's it. Thank you.
All right, Director Blackwell.
Thank you. Communication between the persons online and the persons in this room is thwarted badly by the use of the hybrid. It's the speakers online come out much louder. They're constantly shouting, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I haven't finished yet. Let me talk, let me talk, let me talk." And the chair is constantly trying to yell the answers out. This is more effective. We did agree that we would be at meetings when we signed up for being a director. You can miss 3 meetings. You can't miss 3 board meetings in a row, but you can miss a meeting. And also, I would say, I would approve having an emergency approval of emergency. By that, I mean emergency. Don't take a part-time job on Tuesday mornings. Don't agree to take your sister-in-law to the hospital on Tuesdays. An emergency, if you can get agreement of the president and one other board member, then I would approve somebody being online if it's an emergency. Otherwise, no, because the difference between this meeting and the last several meetings we've had is phenomenal. It really ties our hands as far as communication goes, and it's much abused. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Blackwell. Director English.
Yes, I'd like to say that I agree totally with what Lee said in Blackwell. Totally agree with both of them. And if you notice today, we would have finished, except we've gone into a few little discussions like this, we would have finished a lot earlier by having it a one-on-one or one on whoever, so you know where everybody stands. And I think it's way better. And it does say you can do it. It doesn't say you must do it or you have to do it. So this is definitely something that we can or we can't. And I think the idea of an emergency, if there is an emergency, fair enough. I can tell you right now, I could have taken a whole lot more time off if I'd have put emergency down. But I don't take time off lightly. I think these meetings are very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Director English. Michaela?
We do have a member comment.
All right, hold on. Directors first. Director Torn.
Thanks, President. I really like the idea that we communicated to the residents. However, I feel that if this is the only chance a board member is communicating to the board members, to the residents, we got a problem there. Okay, we need to communicate to them constantly. And when I'm at home doing this online meeting, I constantly communicated to residents. They talk to me about their opinions. That's when I reflected their opinions on the. Being here, I can do that, but it's really not that convenient. Okay, I cannot take phone calls. I cannot do other things. And also here, if you notice that I have the computer here because I do a lot of comments on computer. Okay, and that's very important for me. Even at home, I have two monitors. One monitor is with the online meeting. The other monitor, I have all kinds of Word document, Excel document. I'm over there, I'm doing some calculations. Okay, and also in the same time, if I need to go to do some work, I need to go to eat something, I can go eat something while I'm still listening to it. Okay, so it's very convenient. And also, by the way, we are all retired. Okay, I may go on a trip something now that I have to meet here, and I know a lot of people need to go to committees. That restricted our retirement. That makes our job become a full-time job. Okay, that's what a lot of people is complaining about. A lot of board members complaining about. So we need to give the board members some flexibility, as long as they are communicating to the residents constantly. There is no need that we absolutely have to be here. There is a rule that says if you have a 3-time continuous miss the meeting, not saying that you are on the online meeting, then you need to be you will be dismissed. So there is no such rule exist. We don't want to put the extra rules on ourselves. Okay, we want to improve our communication. That's something we need to do. Let's think about other ways to communicate to the residents. Let's allow people to have this globe. Make sure everybody, if you don't have a globe, make sure you have the globe to communicating. Make sure that you have your email sent out to everybody else, to residents, so residents will be able to send you email and phone number to talk to you about the issues so you can represent them. Okay, that's more important. But whether you are here personally or not, that's different. That's not important. We see Cynthia Rupert showing, presenting information, her report on the internet. Does that stop anything? Does that stop us talking to her at all? No, it doesn't. So there is no restriction. Why do we put extra restriction on the board presence here? Okay. Yes, we need to be here to show our face, okay? But online, we can still show our face, okay? There's no problem. I don't understand why you have to be here, okay? Just look at that chart. Do you recognize any one of those? No. But when you are online, you show your face up there. That's more important. And communication, besides the board meeting, that's the most important thing that we need to follow. Thank you.
Director Casey.
Well, one thing we could do is we could have the people that come on through the internet not become panelists. They can just be observers, you know? They just don't have a vote. I mean, if that's, I don't know, but it's just, this way you can control all that feedback from the internet, you know, unless they get elevated to a panelist. It's a thought.
Thank you, Director Casey. Do we have any other comments, any debate? Are we ready for the vote? All right, Michaela, who do we have?
Richard Brader, Manor 270D.
Holy cow, I came here because, and brought up this subject, because I was shocked this morning. It was a lack of communication. Here's what happened. If you go on, and you can do it right now, onto the Team Up calendar, go to United Board, and here's what you'll see. No Zoom link, and it specifically says, in person only. That's why I came here, because I really don't care if you eliminate the Zoom link. It's just that you didn't communicate that you were going to do it, or maybe you weren't aware. That's all the reason why I brought it up. Now, Siobhan brought to me the fact that there is a Zoom link, but you have to go another step. You have to go on to the agenda. I went what is normally what I do. I just look, and that's what I saw, in person only. Now, with regard to the discussion you're having, I fully understand Pearl's point about the board and how it, you know, should be meeting in person, and I support that. But just to bring up another aspect of it, the board was discussing how this impinges. Basically, you were spending most of your time on how it impinges on the board. The fact of the matter is that it also impinges on residents. And I just bring this up. When I go to committee meetings, and you know I go to a lot of them, there's very poor participation by the community. But if you have the Zoom link, we have had more people coming and offering opinions and discussion. So there's two sides to the story here. I don't know how you're going to vote, and it's up to you guys, but I was only bringing up what I thought was inappropriate, that all of a sudden, nobody tells you that you got to appear in person. And that's what I saw this morning.
Michaela, we have anybody else?
No, that is it.
Okay, are we ready for the vote? Okay. So, Michaela, would you restate the motion, please, for us?
I have motion to approve for all board meetings be available for both in person and virtually.
May I make one more comment?
No, no, you're out of order. All right, so we have a motion, and it's been seconded by Director Nardani. All in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. You have that, Michaela?
Yeah, motion passed 7-3.
All right, 7-3, the motion passes, so we don't need a negative vote. All right, now we're on item 14, Director's comments.
May I put
No,
new
wait,
business? May I
Direct,
add one
I'm
more
running
new
the
business?
meeting, please. Calm down.
May I
We're
add
going
one
on
more
to
new comment?
No, we're
You
going on
skipped
to
me.
14. We just voted. Now we're
I'm
going on to
asking
item
another
14.
one. I'm trying to add another new business here. Can I add well, we've added one already. Why can't I add another
Well, go
one?
ahead.
Okay. I want to make I mentioned this one during our past, communicate to a few board members, that recently, since we allowed purchasing without any delay, rental without any delay, there's a lot of outside investors start jumping in on the property. And I can see that there's a benefit, there's money to make investment returns on their on this purchasing properties here. My question is, those outside investors, they don't have any experience with our property, with our community, and they are not serving their renters very well in our community. So what I'm asking is, why don't we allow the members to purchase additional properties? Notice, it has to be resident members to purchase additional member. If you are not a resident, you are only allowed to have one. But
Director
you are a
Torn,
resident-
why don't you make a motion and then
Okay.
you could explain your motion?
Okay, I propose, I move that we allow resident members to purchase additional units in our, in the United Mutual.
I second it, and then we can debate.
All right, so it's, the motion has been forwarded by Director Torn, seconded by Director Ascari. And Michaela, would you repeat the motion, please?
I have a motion to allow residents to purchase additional units within United Mutual.
Thank you. Now we'll
May
go
I
for
correct that?
discussion.
May I correct that?
We're on the
I'm talking about the resident members, not just residents.
Okay, resident members.
I'm not limiting anything else, anybody else. So it's just additional permit to allow resident members to get involved, rather than just allow outside
All
investors
right,
to get
all right.
involved.
Thank you, Mike.
Director Michaela, will you tell us the amendment now? I mean, this motion?
Yes, motion to allow resident members to purchase additional units within United Mutual.
Thank you. All right, and there's a second, right?
Yeah, may I be the first comment?
Director Blackwell.
Thank you. Are we eliminating the committee process today and ever after? We're not going through our governing documents? We're not anymore doing that?
I'm not saying
Is that
that.
what we're eliminating? Because that's where this question belongs.
I'm not saying
This
that.
needs a
We can
staff
make- we can make
report.
a-
You're out of
It
order,
needs
Director Torn.
Attorney report
Yeah.
before we do such a thing. We should never entertain items just freely proposed at any point in the agenda. No, that is why we follow the agenda and why you have to move it onto the agenda at number 4. This is out of order and totally improper. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, it is not.
Director Bastani.
Excuse me.
I believe what he is proposing is an idea. First, we discuss it in the board. If the board agrees with it, then it goes to
To the committee?
to the committee.
Does that not be good?
No, it's not final approval. It's just approving the idea. Then it
Yes.
goes to the
Yes.
your committee, and after that, after the committee decides what to do, then it comes to the board for final. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Director Bastani. That means the motion is out of order.
Yes.
It's out of order because, as you say, it goes to the committee first, not to the board.
But can
Wait a minute.
Director Ingram.
May I speak?
say something?
You're saying it's an idea, it needs to go to committee.
Right.
Director Ingram.
Excuse me? May I say
Director
something?
English?
Thank you. I thought we had to get a 2/3 vote or something if we had something that's added on. Now,
Not
that would take away both of these. First of all, Torrance and then yours, because there was not 3/4 of the people voted on, first of all.
After the agenda was approved. That
But-
is correct.
Okay,
Well, I don't
no,
know because it is new business.
yes.
It is new
No,
business.
new business is not any business. New business is what ordinarily would have been new business would be more resolutions like this from staff and from the committee.
We can make motion by Rob.
What does the Roberts rule say?
Robert's rules.
Well, Robert's rule states the agenda. Be quiet. Robert's rule says she's right, when the agenda is proposed and has not been accepted by the board, it can be amended. But once it's accepted by the board, then it requires a 2/3 majority to change it, to add or change it. That's Robert's rules.
Yes, so in that case, it is, and as Director Bastani said, it is an idea that we are, and then by we are discussing now, it doesn't mean it is approved. It's a motion.
A motion not to just discuss.
Exactly.
He wants it done.
No, it's
No,
not an idea.
it's not.
He put the motion up to be approved by this board, and it's out of
Oh,
order.
but after us, isn't that 2/3 of the residents should vote on that?
No.
No? Because this is that, no?
I don't know what the process was to change us from 6-month rental to a 1 year or more. Something happened. It was a big process. I don't know if it was just the board or not. You were on
No,
board
the
when
6
that
months,
happened.
yeah.
That's how I got elected.
No, I was elected to the board after 5 of them resigned because of that motion.
I will be reporting to our attorney that we are doing illegal actions on this board. And
No, we
he
have
will
a-
opine for us in about an hour and a half. And we will find out if the earlier motion was improper about online and not online. And this one will certainly be found improper.
Well, this motion is out of order.
Procedures. We
It
have
is out of order.
procedures in United, and some of us know them, and many of us disagree, but we follow them. Otherwise, why have the board meeting? Let's just have a picnic out here and people shout out whatever they want. I mean, why do we?
I'm glad you like
Isn't that what you're
picnic.
doing?
Why do
Isn't that
we
what
get-
you're doing?
Why do we get this report?
Let's come to order. Come to order.
I think Dick wanted to.
Please, board, take Maggie's suggestion. This is a decision that should be brought before your lawyer.
Well,
and he
you're
will
out of
straighten
order
you
because
out.
I already called the motion out of order. Okay. Any other director's comments? I'll move on to
Just-
committee reports.
Can I ask something? Sorry. I don't know the processing, but I got a lots of email about the processing that the VMS sending the invoice to the people. They got it late, and they got the late fee for the $35 for each month, and then they write the check and send it to the VMS. They are not getting it again, and again, it's a late fee. I just want to know, we can just put it for the new business to talk about it, how we smooth this processing for the people. Because I have evidence that they send a check, for example, for March 28th. They got the check, but they didn't put it in the system, and then they said that, oh, okay, we didn't get the check. When the resident just go over there and talk to them, where is my check? I sent it to you, this is the copy of check. And then they found it and said, I'm so sorry, we didn't put it in the system. I want to know that if it's possible to put it as a new business to talk about it and smooth this processing for the residents or not.
Well, I think we can put it on the agenda.
Finance committee is where
And send
the,
it to, we can make a recommendation to send that to finance.
finance, yes.
And then they can bring it to the full board, whatever their resolution is.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, committee, Director Lee.
Yes, I have a short director's comment. Since we're getting so serious, this is on the lighter side. During the pandemic, I called resident services. I usually was waiting for an hour to get through to a person. And this January, when I call the resident services, I usually expect to be waiting for 25 to 30 minutes. Last couple weeks, I called for resident services for some reason. Second ring, they picked up. So these are the drastic improvements that I have experienced with the resident services. So I want all the residents out there watching this program, please don't be discouraged to call resident services. They will have a very quick response for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Lee. We'll go on to committee
I
reports.
have a comment on that.
Comment on what?
Comment on Nita's comments.
Go ahead.
Okay. Nita, I really have sympathy on residents like that. I heard a lot of complaints on that. So it's not a single accident. And when this happens, it's apparent the SOP is not available there, or people are not following SOPs. This is a management issue. I don't know how many resident requests are on that. It seems like it's a lot. Okay, VMS needs to pay attention to that and solve that kind of issue rather than let it surface to this board meeting. Okay, rather than let everybody complaining to the board, and they all thought board are making these decisions. I heard a lot of people complaining about board making decision. Board didn't do the job. No, we didn't. We don't do that kind of management. There's some SOP that's totally missing. Even the past chair, president of the United, run into that kind of problem. We all run into that problem. I put in the check. And then they told me that fine me because they didn't receive a check. I gave them the check number again, gave them the image and the receipt. Finally, they say, oh, yeah, we put it in the wrong place. There's definitely something SOP going wrong. Okay, it is a management issue, and it should be solved by management quickly. Otherwise, we will have all kinds of work requests coming up there. That is a serious problem there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director
Sorry,
Torres.
President. Can I just read one email, one text message? She just heard about it, about this one. It says that one of the residents sent me a text. It says, in setting up auto payment for my HOA dues, I had to call half a dozen times and it took them a month to figure it out. They have applied to the other people's payment to my account. Just another issue.
Thank you. Okay, committee reports. Report of the Finance Committee, Director Ascari.
Can we ask them to get some feedback to us next meeting?
Director Ascari, Finance Report.
Can I have a comment?
Who?
Can I make a comment?
Go ahead.
Director's comments. About 2 weeks ago in our village, I'm sure a lot of you read it in the newspaper because it was very repulsive to me. But there was a lady who was walking around our community with a swastika. And I think this is the first United Board meeting that we're bringing this up, that I'm bringing this up. And I think it's repulsive and repugnant that this happens in our community. And it caused a confrontation between the lady and some of our members. And I'm hoping that it never reoccurs again. And I understand that there's some hate crimes that are being charged against this lady. And I think she's in the intention of moving out. But I'd like to ask staff if there's, Shaban, if there's any update on this particular incident that she could help us with.
The criminal investigation is ongoing, and I have nothing that I can share at this point.
Okay. But I'm hoping that, I just wanted to bring this up to the attention because I think all of our board members are equally outraged that this happens in our community and hope that it doesn't reoccur.
A quick comment here.
You don't have the, you're out of order. You're out of order. We don't know what VMS is doing. You're out of order. Director Ross, are you done? Yes. All right, is there any other director's comments? On the item 15, Finance Report, Director Ascari.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Can we have the slide 1? Thank you so much. Through the reporting period of February 28, 2022, total revenue for United was $7.6 million compared to expenses of $6.4 million, resulting in net expenses of $1.1 million, as you can see in this page. Can we have slide 2, please? Thank you. In finance, we keep a close eye on the operating portion of our financial result. The operating fund without depreciation shows an operating surplus of $476,000 through the reporting period. This chart shows how much of our revenue went into operation with 3.7 million coming in from assessment, as you can see, and 241,000 coming from non-assessment revenue. This is compared to operating expenditures of 3.1 million, of course, without depreciation. Can we have slide 3, please? Thank you. This next chart takes the full income statement and compares those results to budget. We can see that United ended the period better than budget by almost $1 million when combining both operating and reserve saving. If we can have slide 4. This is more chart so you can see better that the most significant variances from budget is the highest from outside services, 625,000. And this is only due to timing, and budgets are spread evenly for program. So remember, this amount is not extra, is next month this will go down when outside services, it will be used. And the second one is goes to employee compensation, 344,000. And this favorable balance primary is in M&C departments and landscape due to open position that we have. And the next one is material and supplies. You can see again is favorable, 191,000. And that's result in several areas of operation, such as interior components, appliances, and paint due to timing of expenditures. We have 2 unfavorable that you can see. The first one is unrealized gain loss on investment, which is 280,000 loss. Unfavorable due to adverse condition for bond index fund investment during the reporting period. And the last one you can see is unfavorable for the 4,000 about fee and charges for services. And that's a result from less revenue than budget for chargeable damage from moisture intrusion events due to delays in determination hearings. Can we have slide 5, please? Thank you. And this is a pie chart. So in this pie chart, you can see that non-assessment revenues earned to date of 257,000, excluding the unrealized loss on available for sale investment. If you include the unrealized loss on investment, non-assessment revenue totaled a loss of 223,000. Revenue is organized by category, starting with our largest revenue generating category fees and charges to residents, followed by laundry, resale processing fee, lease processing fee, and so forth, as you can see. Can we have a slide 6, please? On this chart, again, is another pie chart. We see the expenses to date of expenses up to date is 6.5 million, showing that our largest category of expense, of course, is employee compensation, and followed by property and sale tax, utilities, insurance, outside service, material and supplies, and so forth. At the upper right, if you look at on the corner, you can see the breakout of the utility categories. As you can see, the price of water, trash, electricity, and phone. Can we have a slide 8, please? Thank you. Slide 7, sorry. On this next slide, we see those same expenses excluding properties and sale tax. And of course, in this without property sale, you can see almost 50% or income going to employee compensation. And the other 50 goes to the, starting with utilities, insurance, outside service, material supplies, and so forth. Can we have a slide 8, please? Thank you. Our fund balance are shown here. The contingency fund balance on February 28, 2022 was $1,097,000. Contributions and investment revenue total was unfavorable, $16,000, resulting for unrealized loss on AFS investment due to adverse condition for bond investment during the reporting time. And contribution and investment revenue collected totally $1.5 million, while expenditures were $881,000. You can see here property tax fund balance on February was 38 less, and then contribution and investment revenue collected total $2 million, while expenditures was $2,030,000. And this gives you an opportunity to check a contingency compared to the reserve. Just you know that the contingency money is in operating account, and reserve is in reserve account. Can we have a slide 9, please? This gave you an average for 5 years, you can see. We compare this to historical fund balance for the past 5 years on this chart, which have average of 20 million. So you can see that tiny line is there, and we are almost in the average for the last 5 years. And the last one is slide 10. And this is resale history. We have a slide here to show resale history from 2020 to 2022 through February 28. United sales totaled 78 units, which is 17 resales higher than prior year for the same time period. The average year-to-date sales price for a United Manor was $305,000, which is $45,000 higher than last year. And that was a good news, isn't it? Thank you so much at this point. That was the result for the finance for February 2022. Mr. Chair, back to you.
Thank you, Director Ascari. The report of the Architectural Control and Standards Committee, we didn't,
President Liberatore?
Yeah?
Richard Rader would like to speak, if that's okay with the board.
For what? All right. You know, it's getting late.
No, I know that. I'm very quick. I just want to make a clarification. You have in your agenda packet, 15A, Section 2, the minutes of the last financial committee meeting. You will see that there was no discussion about the Globe subscription for board members in open session. The vote then must have occurred in closed session. This violates proper procedure. And I'm hoping that, having brought this up, that that we will follow appropriate procedures here going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rader. Report of the Architectural Control Standards Committee. I reported on the February meeting in March, and then so there's the next meeting will be in April 21st, and we had to cancel the March meeting because there was nothing to report on. So report of the Members Hearing Committee, Director Ardani.
Okay.
The member hearing committee held on March 24th, and we had a few cases. And the next meeting going to be April 28th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Director Ardani. Report of the Governing Documents Review Committee, Director Blackwell.
There was no meeting this last month. Our next meeting will be next week, April 21st at 1:30.
Thank you. Report of the Security and Community Access Committee, Director Bastani.
No. Landscape.
Where is it? Wrong page, what? Do I have the wrong page here?
Yeah.
2 of 4, where's 3 of 4? Give it to me.
Here you go. Great, great.
Our report of the Community Activities Committee, Direct.
The first one, the landscape.
Give this one.
All right, who's got landscape? Director Casey, give us a report on that, please.
Well, the only thing I want to add to what we talked about today is just that, the only thing I want to add that because we talked a lot about landscape today, was just that we're going to be talking about the ad hoc committee on Thursday. And there's 12 people that have submitted applications to the CEO office, and we are going to choose 8 of those, and maybe I'll get a couple of advisors out of it too. So that is, so come to the meeting on Thursday. And maybe you could even Zoom.
Thank you, Director Casey. Report of the Maintenance and Construction Committee, Director English.
The committee met, hold on a minute. Sorry. The committee met on February the 23rd, 2022. The next meeting is going to be April the 27th at 9:30 in the boardroom and as a virtual meeting.
Thank you.
Excuse me, wasn't March 30? You said February.
Well, I don't know, it says February the 30th here. I think you're right, though. I think it should have been March. We'll have to check that out. That might have to be changed to March.
So Director English, when is it?
Well, the problem is it's written down here as February the 23rd, and
It was March 30th, 2022.
it should have been March the 23rd,
Okay.
March 30th.
Okay, thank you.
30.
right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Report of the United Resident Advisory Committee, Director Lee.
Yes, we had a meeting. We had a meeting on March 10th. Our next meeting will be April 14th. And if the Elms Room downstairs is available, we would probably have it rather than the boardroom. Thank you.
Yes, I passed that on to staff. All right. So now we'll go on to GRF Committee highlights. Report of the GRF Finance Committee, Director Ascari.
Yes, committee met on February 16, and GRF did not have any finance meeting on March, so I do not have any special report. And the next meeting is April 2022 at 1:30.
Thank
Of
you,
course, it's
Direct-
via virtual meeting and in the boardroom.
Thank you, Director Ascari. Do we have any report from the Strategic Planning Committee?
I wasn't on that meeting, so I didn't show up. I didn't get a message.
Okay. No report. Report of the Committee of Activity Committee, Director Blackwell.
Okay, we met Thursday, March 10th. Blackwell, Casey, and Liberatory were there representing United. We were putting the street addresses of the clubhouses and the activity centers available right next to the clubhouses and activity centers, so when we call 911, we can tell the fire department what the address is, because without the address, they do not know where to come. So that's one interesting thing.
We're disbanding the Revenue Resources Ad Hoc Committee, at least temporarily. That was the discussion. We are, the pickleball can play only one game if there are others waiting. The maximum time they can have is 15 minutes, and then they have to let others take a turn. So they're taking turns this time. The last thing is, only service animals are allowed at the garden centers. Don't take your regular doggy to the garden center and let him dig around in that dirt. That's a no-no. The Saddle Club and Old Pros both made big donations to the Equestrian Center, and there are still collections going on there, lots of improvements going on there. Our next meeting will be April 14th. Thank you.
Can I ask a question about the pickleball? Is the 15 minutes?
15
Maybe
minutes.
the game is not finished during the 15
Well,
minutes.
what has been happening is that people have been missing points so they can keep playing. So they've been faking. So if it looks like they're going to win, 7-12 or whatever it is, then one side starts losing so that they can hold the court. And they're just holding the court and extending the game and extending the game and extending the game. So they made it a 15-minute limit.
All right, so, okay, and then we got the Equestrian Center there, thank you.
Right.
Report of the GRF Landscape Committee, Director Casey.
Well, they met on March 9th, and the next meeting is June 8th at 1:30.
Thank you, Director Casey.
Please note, it is not a virtual meeting.
Oh, it says virtual, but it's not? Okay.
Okay, the report of the Maintenance and Construction Committee, Director Akrakar.
Yeah, the committee did meet on February 9th. The next meeting is on April 13th, which is tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. I do not have anything to report yet from the previous meeting, but I'll have the information tomorrow.
Thank you, Director Akar. Do we have anybody to report on the Clubhouse Facilities Ad Hoc Committee? Diane?
They met in January, and they didn't meet in March. So I don't have anything to report, and it's to be announced, so I don't have a date.
Thank you, Director Casey. Report of the Media and Communications Committee, Director Ardani.
The meeting met at March 21st, and we have a few items to discussion. And we have a few reports from Miss Eileen Pauline, Miss Rodrock from the website Ad Hoc Committee, broadband service report from Mr. Ortiz, the weather channel staff report, Mr. Ortiz, Channel 1 Russia staff report from Mr. Ortiz, and closed captioning staff report from Mr. Ortiz. And the next meeting is going to be April 18th. Thank you.
Thank you. Report of the Mobility and Vehicles Committee.
Okay, I was there and Director Ross was there also. We have asked staff to consider, to look into buying used vehicles. And they're to be looking at the possibility of doing that and checking out if that is possible or not. We also, ridership, this is mobility, yeah. Ridership is up. We have 5,570 of the regular Easy Rider bus trips on the monthly average. We have Journey, which is just to your doctor's appointments. We have 572 of those a month. And Boost, which is the after-hours program, has 316 users of rides a month. So ridership is up. It's going very well. And they're able to they're hoping to open up the weekend use for Boost again soon. They've extended it to Sundays for transportation to church, and we're hoping that that will work out. Thank you. And we meet again June 1st at 1:30.
Okay, thank you. And do we have a report on the Security and Community Activities Access Committee?
Yes, I was there. Mr. Bastani was not, and we met. And dwelling live, let's see. The dwelling live is done for residents who cannot make a, let me think. All right. I can't read my notes here. Okay. Okay. Yes. They straighten out the dwelling live. Now you can remove a contact. Before recently, you could not remove a contact once you had given a gate pass issued. There was no way of getting that person off the list, so you had to go on and make adjustments to. It was very hard to get on a regular entry, and they fixed that one up, so that's the good news. We will be meeting April 25th at 1:30, and that's that
Thank you.
report. Thank you.
Okay, Laguna Woods Village traffic hearings, Director Ardani.
The hearing were held on March 16, and we have few traffic violation, mostly about the failure to obey stop sign. And the next meeting will be on April 20th.
Thank you, Director Ardani. Report of Disaster Preparedness Task Force, Director Casey.
Yes, they met on March 29th, and it was interesting to find out how they have drills where they communicate to each other, the different staff at different clubhouses with their radios, so that they know that they can be in touch during an emergency. And I'm interested in that because I'm a ham radio operator, and I know they do have a group here. So they're going to meet again on May 31st at
Thank you, Director
9:30.
Casey. And this next one is interesting, the Information Technology Advisor Committee. That's a mouthful. What do you got going there?
Well, that's our new ERP system, the big one, to replace what we have, and which was in need of an upgrade. So they're just waiting for the contract to be approved by the vendor. So it's out to the vendor, and who knows, it could have gotten approved since the last time we met 2 weeks ago. But we're going to meet this Friday, so, yes.
Okay. All right, number 17, future agenda items. All matters listed under future agenda items are resolutions on 28-day public review or items for a future board meetings. No action will be taken by the board on these agenda items here in this meeting. And number 18.
Recess.
The agenda has been exhausted, therefore we don't need a motion to recess. We'll be in recess and be in recess until 1:45.
All right.
Thank you.